Hello and welcome to Tin Tower Talks, an occasional podcast where I, Umbreon Libris, have interesting conversations with other members of the Pokemon community. Today we're going to talk about what it's like being a Pokemon content creator. We have the biggest panel that I've ever had on this show, covering a big range of styles and audience sizes. I'm very excited, but we do have a lot to cover. So for anyone who isn't very familiar with me, my name is Libris. I've been doing YouTube for 3 years and a bit, and I have currently about 4,200 subscribers. Not very big, but an audience that I'm happy with. I talk about Pokemon designs. I do redesigns as well, but generally I'll just comment on any Pokemon topics that interest me. I just try to apply a critical eye and just make videos that I can be proud of. So let's have our guests introduce themselves now. Primadiva, let's start with you.
Oh, yeah. Hi, I'm Primadiva, and I'm a YouTuber who does Pokemon stuff. I mainly specialize in, the biology side of Pokemon, the realistic side of Pokemon, stuff like that. Although I do oftentimes go for just anything that interests me, such as lore discussions or some theories I come up with. Basically, it's just whatever I come up with, which just happens to be biology most of the time.
Yeah, sounds good. Pokeraf.
Hi everyone, my name's Raf. I focus mainly on the Pokemon anime, and yeah, I just want to say thank you to Libris for having us today. It looks like a great panel, and I'm looking forward to chatting with you all today.
Yeah, it's my pleasure. Next up, True Green 7.
Hey, my name is Ron. I'm from the channel True Green 7, and the channel is basically, I guess, Pokemon lore, opinion, maybe some fact-related content. Half of it nowadays is Pokemon art-related, where I create new Pokemon, Fakemon, if you will. And yeah, super happy to be here.
And next up, Adurin. That's what I call you, but I'm not sure if that's what I should be calling you. But in any case, the Not a Scratch podcast.
Hello, everyone. My name is, I go online by Adurin. I also go by Anaru, because that's what my legal name is. And I am the host of Not a Scratch, a Pokemon Mystery Dungeon TTRPG actual play podcast. Basically, what happens if D&D took all the D&D stuff out and replaced it with Pokemon. It's a very improv-y story. So that is my biggest claim to fame. I host a couple of other podcasts and a YouTube channel doing games in your classic YouTuber-y self. But very excited to be here. First time, long time type of guy. And looking forward to the discussion we're going to have today.
Yeah, and last but not least, Sacred Almighty.
This is such a diverse cast of people, first and foremost. Hello, everybody. My name is Nick, Sacred Almighty, whatever you want to call me. I'm a gaming content creator for Pokemon and just gaming in general, but my channel primarily focuses on the ROM hacks, the fan games, the official games, whatever comes out for the official games, spinoffs, everything. I pretty much got the gaming side unlocked. So that's good. I'm honored to be here. Thank you so much for having me.
Yeah, thank you everyone for being here. I was trying to come up with as diverse as possible in every sense. I'm a little bit disappointed that I wasn't able to get someone who focuses more on streaming. Do any of you do much streaming?
I do a lot.
Nah.
I do a
Dabble
lot.
a bit. Does that count?
Yeah, dabble sometimes.
Yeah, I basically just I have a more or less regular streaming schedule, but it's far from my focus, so it's not an aspect that I can really speak to. So we're probably not going to talk about streaming content creators too much today. But if you're creating primarily for YouTube pre-recorded pieces, this should give you quite a bit of information. We're going to talk about kind of the whole lifespan of being a creator from the very beginning. And so I actually wanted to start with you, Sacred. Why did you become a content creator?
It was, I promise you, just one of those situations where it was oh, hey, I think it was Chugga Conroy do Fire Red and Leaf Green. And I was like, he's just talking over a Pokemon game. I'm like, that's so simple. And I was like, I could do this too. And I did it. And it was like, oh, it works. Okay, cool. And there I am.
Yeah. Did you find your audience fairly quickly, or did that
So
take
it was
a while?
weird. Cause it's weird because I've had like maybe like 3 or 4 channels before this one, but these are all like me as a child. I didn't really like have like a crazy established audience. Maybe like back then when like 1,000, 2,000 subscribers were so much, but like I'd say like I had like a decent like 500 subscribers, but then like those subscribers would like follow me through like the many channels that like got destroyed because of copyright issues. And then I was like, oh, okay, cool. So I got like a little small base, and then I made this. And at one point I wasn't like a Pokemon channel primarily. It's just out of nowhere, Pokemon just spazzed out. I think it was like Pokemon Fooligan. And it was like a little ROM hack. It was the very first ROM I've ever played. And it just like exploded. And I was like, oh, people want to see more of this. Let's just put more of this out.
Yeah, and how long have you been doing this for?
Oh my God. I think the Sacred channel turns like 7 years old.
Ooh, and that's
turned 7 years.
And that's not even your first one, so you've been doing this for a very long time.
If I counted my teenage years, probably like 10 years, yeah. But it was just really just fun stuff. Like it was like I had like the nasty Logitech headset mic with like the camera on. It was disgusting.
Yeah, but you started, and then that's an obstacle that not a lot of people who think about starting actually overcome. Ron, I think you're the one who's probably been doing this for the comparable amount of time. How long ago did you start?
I actually believe Sacred is definitely longer than me because I remember like hearing of him, maybe watching a few stuff before I even started my channel.
Yeah, okay. I thought you were in the 7 to 8 year range as well. Is it not
Definitely,
quite
yeah,
that long?
7 years.
Okay.
7 years.
Yeah. And why did you decide to become a content creator?
I've always been making videos since I was like 11. I used like just a camcorder, making home videos. Had like my own show with my brother that we would just play for my parents and friends. But and then actually when I was like 13, I made True Green 7 and I posted like a couple of like these like semi-animated stuff like about my friends from school, like little skits and parodies of my friend group. Those are unlisted on my on True Green 7, but like it wasn't until I graduated high school and in high school I was already making like tons of videos every week. I was like part of like I was the head of the video club in high school, and then I just decided I was already running the YouTube channel for my high school's channel, and so I already knew how to make a YouTube channel and run it. Decided to make a top 10 like favorite Pokemon during my senior year, and then when I graduated I'm like I think this is a thing that I would love to do. I already worshipped like Poketubers like Jay Witz and Tama and all those people. And like, are you asking how it kicked off or how it started?
We'll get to reaching success in a little bit. So let's focus on just the getting started. Did you have like, I guess, good equipment right away?
Not a mic technically, because I was making more like actual live action videos, and so I didn't really have just like I bought my Yeti after like my 5th video or whatever, but the microphone is that's when you become an official YouTuber when you have a good mic. But yeah, I've always been making like art and videos in general, and even like again I graduated high school, that's when I started my channel, but I was going into art school, and 3D animation was my major. So yeah, it was always like entertainment was always the career track.
Prima Diva, you actually, I don't know if it's you or Adurin who is the most recent one who started the less time ago.
I've been doing it for since 2018, but really only started doing it seriously since 19. So
That would be you then, because I started serious in 19.
Yeah, so both of you have been doing this for about the same amount of time. How did you guys start? We could do Prima Diva first.
Yeah, so I started in like 2018. I was more so doing random let's plays, like just really random let's plays. I did like Spider-Man and like A Hat in Time, and I don't know why. I wanted to do Pokemon, but I only really wanted to do scripted videos. So I was like, okay, well, let's write scripted videos while in the meantime do Let's Plays or something. It didn't really work out because the niches, they were just all over the place, so it didn't work out. Actually, got inspired to do Poketubing, as you would call it, by Shady Penguin, actually, because I loved watching his... I believe it was like when he did like all that like Gen 6 competitive battling. I loved watching that. I would like sit on my computer and like watch for hours, and I was like, you know what? That really seemed like fun. But you know, back then I wasn't really in a too happy place in my life, so I was like, okay, I'll do it later. And I also got inspired by Birdkeeper Toby's his evolutionary tree of life video. It really sparked my interest in like Pokemon biology. Was the beginning. I would say. In the beginning, I didn't really do Pokemon biology. I more so started out with just generic stuff, but then I had a awakening again due to the love of dinosaurs or something. Like, I was watching some like videos on prehistoric animals, and I was like, wait a second, that's really cool. And it just all started to combine again, because I used to have a big love for animals and all that stuff, and I was kind of gone for a few years, but now I was like, wait a second, Pokemon are like animals. That's when it all started to click. And yeah, it's just, yeah, I mean, that's kind of it, I guess.
Yeah. But yeah, Breedkeeper Toby is also one of my inspirations, one of my sparks. Love his work. Tama as well was another one that I'd admired for a long time. But I think what really pushed me over the edge was seeing especially Toby's videos, but just like the YouTube or the Poketuber space in general, and like my opinions not being reflected in general. But it's just like, I love what Toby does, I just disagree with a lot of it.
You know, yeah, I can kind of, yeah, unique opinions is definitely part of it, like unique takes and all. Just wanting to see something new, I guess.
Yeah. How about you, Ref?
So I feel like my content creation journey first sparked from when I used to go away on holiday to Spain with my family, and I used to like vlog the trips because we always used to go for summer holidays. And then it was around 2006 when Diamond and Pearl came out, and I was watching Mariland's playthrough of the game, and I was thinking to myself, okay, this guy's playing Pokemon, you know, he's enjoying it. I'm thinking to myself, why don't I try and see if I can make something out of it for myself? And then I came across another Let's Player called Poke Cinema, and as you can tell from my name, it draws great inspiration from him. So
a long time.
It's been a hot minute. It has been a hot minute. So yeah, he inspired me to make this channel. I did have, like Sacred said, I had a couple of channels before where I mainly used to focus on Call of Duty and FIFA, but then copyright kicked in, and I was like, okay, I'm going to scrap that and just focus on something that I've got a greater passion for. And that was Pokemon. So yeah, I've been running the channel now for probably the same time as Ron and Sacred, roughly around 7 years as well. But yeah, it's been a interesting journey, that's for sure.
Yeah, did you focus on the anime right from the beginning?
So when I made my channel, it was during the XY era, so I started to focus on the games and the anime. As time passed for the Sun and Moon era, that's when I slowly started to divert over to the anime a bit more, because it seemed like my audience were rather interested to hear about my speculation and theories about the Pokemon anime rather than the games. And I can understand that, because to be honest, there's loads of different creators that cover the games, and people try their best to see if they can find something a little bit unique or a bit different, and it seemed like they really enjoyed my stuff when it came to the anime, so I was like, okay, I'm going to focus on the anime, and that's what I've been doing ever since. I mean, I try my best, of course, to integrate a little bit with the games, maybe in relation to the anime, but yeah, it's just mainly the Pokemon anime now.
Yeah, I feel like the X and Y era was probably one of the biggest booms in
100%.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it definitely was. I remember the times where I made a review back on when Ash took on Alan in the Kalos League, and then when he released Ash Greninja, and that was like the big era for where everyone was like, oh my god, why would he do that? How could he lose? what's going to happen after? And then Sun and Moon came around, and then of course we had the whole era for when Ash won the Lola League and was granted champion, and then it was like a repetition of what happened with X and Y. It's like, oh, what's going to happen now? But yeah, those were definitely some very interesting times, and yeah, the community did have its interest in a lot of things as well, especially to do with it.
Yeah, that I if I remember correctly, that was also around the time that like Birdkeeper Toby started. I think
Yes,
Hoops and
yeah.
Hip Hop as well.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And Loxton, I think he was already doing stuff before that, but he started focusing more on Pokemon around that time.
I think so too. Yeah.
Yeah, Sun and Moon.
Yeah,
Gen 6 in general was a renaissance for Pokemon in every aspect.
yeah, because that was also the era of Pokemon Go.
Yeah.
It was when I started to think about doing a channel. I probably spent like several months in 2016 more or less planning to do a channel, but then I just never actually started until 2 years later. So that's always one of my like regrets, is just like I could have started sooner. I could have been part of that wave. Like, I don't know if I would have been, right? I don't know if I would have actually been able to capture that momentum, but I would have had that opportunity, and 2 years later, it just wasn't there anymore.
It's funny you mentioned that, because I was thinking about this not long ago as well, because I remember there was a channel called, I think it was Lumia Station, and I remember when I first started watching the videos on that channel. I remember watching the videos on that channel, and I think Tyranitar Tube, he was quite young, and he was making really engaging content, and the editing was really cool, and I was like, man, maybe I should have started earlier. But back then I was too busy focusing on school and playing the games.
I think when a lot of the people now that like were established, like I guess back then, I'm pretty sure like it was like the Shofus, the Tyranitar, because I knew Thamo when he was like, I want to say like 16, 17 years old, and he had like a crazy huge channel, and I was like, damn, how did you get this with this much, like what's going on? And it just seems like starting as soon as possible is probably the best way to, like, if not be at the start of something, is the best way to like just know what's going on and what's being around. Because it's just like, how many people started in X and Y and are still here? How many people started and grew crazy? And even after X and Y, it's like there's so many things you can get by just doing it as early as possible, as soon as possible.
Absolutely.
I mean, I'm constantly thinking about, what would have happened if I started earlier, but then I realized that maybe my videos wouldn't have been as good in terms of, I don't know, editing or definitely narration. I wouldn't have had a mic. And,
for sure.
And then maybe I would have given up because it wouldn't have kicked off because it wasn't just as good.
Yeah, no, that's a good point. I feel like I probably was in a similar place, like in my life, 2016, 2018, because I was already working, right? I was not a high school student. I was not a college student. I'd even already finished my master's degree at that point. So I was just working in 2016. I was still just working in 2018. So, like, in terms of that, for me personally, probably wouldn't have made that much of a difference. But of course, for other people, there's lots of different things that could be going on in your life that maybe starting earlier either isn't or wouldn't have been the ideal option. But my feeling is always that just you have to be there, like you have to have started in order for anything to be possible to happen.
100%. Yeah.
Yeah.
No, I created my channel during the time I was at school, and I made a couple of videos, and then after that I just stopped because I was studying, and it wasn't until like about a year after that I started to pursue video making on a more serious level. And then I noticed in that time that in that whole gap, maybe okay, if I took a couple of minutes out of my day to just sit down, script, make a video, there could have been some growth behind the doors whilst I'm still studying. And I never looked at it like that, because when you're younger, you're like, oh, I've got to focus on my grades, I want to get into a good university and everything. But yeah, I definitely agree with what you guys are saying about that. It's interesting when you think about it.
Adurin, You started, you said about 2 years ago. How and why did you start?
Sure. So, uh, way back in the ancient days of like prior to copyright YouTube, um, I the YouTubers I was watching, and I'm going to throw this out there. I don't know if this is necessarily true, but I feel as though I am the baby of the group because you guys are talking about 2016, 17, like, oh, we're finishing up college, and I'm like, I was a senior in high school that time, so uh, uh, it's slightly different. So YouTubers that I was growing up watching YouTube while YouTube was like growing, if that makes any sense. So people like Super Skarmory, who doesn't make videos anymore, but he was a gameplay YouTuber that I think he goes by King of Zeal on Twitch now. Um, but very much focusing on like watching the gameplay stuff, and then naturally that makes me want to be like, well, I could do that too. So I started making videos in 2014, but those videos I was attempting to be the next Crash Course, if you've seen that,
Oh yeah.
like educational sort of thing. I had called it AP for Teens, and I think the channel is still up there of me like going through and pretending to do advanced placement classes because I had just finished taking those. Um, as the knowledge was great. That lasted all of like 2 or 3 months before I lost interest in that. And then started the Aduran Region channel a little bit later, and then same sort of idea, like making gameplay videos and trying to do series for that. I could never, and to this day, still really can't get consistent when it comes to gameplay stuff. Though hopefully I have changed that. Um, and that's just basically the experience that led to the main focus of what I do currently, which is the Not a Scratch podcast. So in the summer of 2019, I was doing an internship in New York, and on the subway rides back and forth, I didn't want to just sit on a subway for half an hour doing nothing. So I got really interested in podcasts, and they usually fell under two different categories of sports or Pokemon stuff. Um, and then from there, I found different Pokemon podcasts that were TTRPGs, where you would go and play as a trainer and have the Pokemon go through your adventure, like any other Pokemon trainer sort of thing. And as I got more and more interested in those, I found that there was um, no Pokemon Mystery Dungeon podcast, and the Mystery Dungeon games were what got me into Pokemon in the first place. My first Pokemon game was Blue Rescue Team, and not one of the main series games. So I've always have a fondness for the Mystery Dungeon games and spin-offs as a whole. So afterwards, I decided, because I felt like Mystery Dungeon and Dungeons and Dragons and that TTRPG feel sort of just melded together really well. And so in that fall of 2019, I started developing a system basically to play this game. Grabbed a couple of my college friends in the winter of 2020, and then right as COVID hit was when we were starting. So in a way, it almost made it easier because it made it so that we'll just record online because that's significantly easier, and then just we've got a bunch of free time now that classes are for college are sort of messed up in a bit. So just recording those and then start publishing them out and go from there.
And how long did it take for you to amass an audience?
Uh, I think it was fairly quickly.
Okay.
Well, the audience itself isn't as big as other podcasts, obviously, but I had already been in other, I guess, like Discord channels and in the Twitter universe, kind of being like, "Hey, there's a new show coming out if you want to see it." Um, and so it was relatively quickly that people got on, and then from there, word of mouth spread it to the modest success that we have today.
Cool.
Nice.
Yeah, I want to move on to talking about how we find our space, and I actually wanted to start with you, Duran, because out of all of us here, at least, I feel like you have the most unique content with Not a Scratch specifically. I listened actually to the first maybe 2 episodes or so when you first shared them with me, and I remember thinking that they were very well produced. I think the only reason that I didn't keep with them is just because I actually have never played an entire Mystery Dungeon game. So
Oh, sure, yeah.
so like the Mystery Dungeon aspect was not as appealing to me personally. But like I know that there are other tabletop RPG podcasts out there. I don't know how many there are that are Pokemon. I don't think I've seen one besides yours, and certainly not a lot that focuses on Mystery Dungeon. So do you think that, well, first of all, are you as unique as my perception is, or are there other competitors, and do you think that helps you?
So, am I as unique as you think? Yes and no.
Okay.
I have found a few shows that do mystery dungeon stuff, but all of them have either ended with like wrapping the ribbon around and everything, completing the story, or they just kind of fell off. And from ages ago to this day, I am still every now and then just throwing out in the universe like, "Hey, does anyone know any other mystery dungeon shows?" To this day, I have not found anyone else. Um, Primarily because most of the TTRPG systems that have Pokemon involved with it are focused on the classic trainer story, because it's relatively simple to deal with. You don't have to worry about other sort of items and trying to turn them into the mystery dungeon universe. Like working with orbs and mystery dungeon floors and rooms and stuff is not easily uh, quantifiable beyond making maps in advance, but then that sort of cuts away from the mystery aspect of the mystery dungeon. Um, so yeah, I guess the story itself is more of a unique thing than uh, I initially thought it was going to be, because I thought it was going to be one of those things like, "Hey, I think this is really fresh and new and exciting," and then somebody would come back, "No, there's somebody from 2 years ago that does it better than you do." So I haven't heard that yet, but we'll see.
Yeah, it's always tough, like, in podcasting, like with YouTubing, there is so much out there. It's almost impossible for you to like have a good sense of what everyone is doing. And so it's quite easy for you to be like, "Hey, I'm going to do this that I've never seen before. It's probably unique." And then it turns out that that's not as unique as you thought.
Right, exactly.
Raph, how about you? How did you figure out how to stand out?
I think it was mainly due to the fact that, seeing as I like to make theories a lot and speculate about the Pokemon anime, I just wanted to dive ahead in terms of the predictions of the anime. So there are quite a lot of Pokemon anime content creators that cover certain aspects about the anime that's currently ongoing. But, like, for example, I made a video recently talking about, what would happen if Ash became the world champion? Will his era in the Pokemon anime end? Or is it going to be continuing once again, maybe having an integration Generation 9? So I always try to think ahead of the span compared to the anime, because when I make my content, I try my best, of course, to talk about the current topics, but then if there's one piece of detail that could sprout into a different topic, and I'm thinking, okay, cool, how could I maybe elaborate on this and see what type of video I could come up with that, and how would that play its part later on in relation to the anime? So that's what I mainly try to do, really.
Do you feel like it's working?
Yeah, I do. I probably should have mentioned that from the beginning. Yeah, I do feel like it's working, because from the way I've been making the videos, and for how the viewers come back to see more regarding those sort of type of videos, it tends to work out really nicely, and the engagement is really good, and everyone's very keen to see if this actually happens, because you can make a video, some people will just watch the video and be like, "Oh, that's a good video, oh, okay, cool, that's me done for the day." But then there's others that would actually be like, "Oh wow, you brought up a really good point, I really want to find out what's going to happen next," or "I wonder what's going to happen down the line in the next week or next month or next year regarding the anime," because at the current time regarding the anime, it's all up in the air, because we don't know if Ash is actually going to win this league, or if he's actually going to continue his journey. So it's quite a enjoyable topic of discussion, that's for sure. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Nick, your space is also quite well populated by other content creators.
My shit is oversat. It's so crazy, because like I feel like as time went on, a lot of people, like, the oversaturation started to kind of dwindle down. Like, I feel like a lot of people kind of like just stopped because they didn't see like any growth coming into it, or didn't anything like that. So it's weird kind of seeing like there are some people who are like still around, but then like there's a different way of doing it now versus how it was back then. So I guess the medium is still alive, but I don't know. It's a very unique situation because it used to be everybody and their mom was doing Let's Play content or some type of gaming something, but now it's like only a select few of people are the go-to guys for gaming stuff. And then there's just everybody else that's like kind of just there.
What do you think about like challenge playthroughs and all that? I
don't know. I kind of think it's weird because they're already answered. Like I don't like I don't like the videos where it's like, oh, can you beat Pokemon with, I don't know, a fire type only team, because like it's like Pokemon, that's the luxury of Pokemon. Pokemon is like this big humongous thing, and every game you have access to these mons, and it doesn't matter if they're bad or not. If you level them up correctly, if you know what you're doing, you can win the game regardless. So it's like for you to ask this question, it's like you already knew the answer, but it's some people likes the I asked the exact same question, why people like this, and they're like, oh, it's just curiosity whenever like there's a unique way of going about it, or like there's a certain mon that they maybe like slept on and they just kind of like didn't think about it all that ended up being really good or something like that. Like I know like a all bug run would be crazy because a lot of people don't know what Crustle can do.
Right.
So it's like, oh, like it's like stuff like that is dope. But then, like, you'll have, like I said, the obvious answers, like, oh, hey, can you win with a water type? Yes. 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 And this is, I don't know, it's a very unique way of going about it. I think it like, completely nullifies the playthrough aspect of things. But I think that's only because they're just playing through regular versions of the games and not ROM hacks. Because ROM hacks and fan games nowadays are more story versus like, let's say, I don't know, you just play Pokemon Fire Red 15 times because there's 15 typings. You know what I'm saying? Like it's just different now.
Recently, there's been a lot of like hacks or like randomizers and stuff like that, and those kind of challenges have kicked off, like just randomizing everything, or the one where that randomizes the location every time you go inside of like a doorway. But
you know what's crazy about those is like, I've noticed that it's a whole different like meta now, because what those videos are, most of those things are just Twitch playbacks.
Yeah.
And they're all normally, if you were to do a playthrough just like that, where it's like, oh, I played through Pokemon Fire Red and I randomized everything, and you titled it and you like got the graphics for it. Like, this is back in like 2016, right? So you will like get the whole thumbnail, the whole layout, the team thing, the gameplay, the face cam window, and you would just play through it. I don't think a lot of people would be watching. But if you take that whole playthrough and just titled it, give it like a really, I noticed that basic designs and stuff is like what's going on now. Where it's like, oh, hey, here's just a face, a screenshot, and then that's it, which is so crazy because back then they would have killed us, right? But like that's what that is now. And it's like, damn, like, and you go to those videos and they're all Twitch playbacks.
Yeah. And what's even, I just noticed this now where it's like, not that it's unfair, but it's like harder for like any small person to do this. Like only like the top people can do those kind of like challenges where you have to like hack the game and do crazy stuff.
Well, that's just because they're all in the same group. Like these are all friends.
Yeah,
like the people that are getting views and stuff like that, they're all friends of each other. They're in the same like social circle. So they kind of have that on lock when it comes to like, oh, hey, here's, I don't know, random guy that blew up on TikTok, and here's another guy that blew up on Twitch just by randomizing the game. They're in the same social circle. They do the same type of content. It makes sense why their audiences mesh well and why they keep growing together versus, let's say, somebody with 5,000 subscribers who can barely pull like 10 to 15 viewers on Twitch, and they try to do the exact same thing. So now they have to resort to, oh, hey, the can you beat so-and-so whole route again because their stuff didn't work like that. They had to promote their Twitch through those videos.
It's a perfect model. It's a genius model. It's just it's less about that. This is what everybody's now trying to do, and more. It's just a specific people doing, like a specific group of people doing this. It's not really the YouTube landscape. It's just this group is doing.
Yeah, And I noticed like a lot of people are like, oh yeah, that's just what get views. But I'm like, I don't think that's what gets views. I think there's specific people that have this audience already. And that's what gets the views. Because I know for sure if one of us was supposed to do this, it probably wouldn't fare well at all for anybody.
Toby just did a challenge that I loved, where like he gets every time he beats a gym leader, he has to use that team for the next gym leader.
That's a fire idea.
It's a really good. It was really good video, and yeah, that didn't do as well as the ones that get like 1 million views in the first day. So it's like it really is just the connection with the fan bases.
I think it's a classic you need money to make money sort of situation, that it's
Kinda,
a lot
yeah.
easier to compound your views, I guess, if you've got a solid base already, because then when you merge bringing people onto your channel, it's a lot easier to have those audiences mesh with each other, because it's big group merges with big group to create bigger group, and then that just like inflates things even better. It works for them, and it's all cool, and I would be lying if I said I would not do the exact same thing if I was in their place.
Oh, for
But,
sure.
Yeah.
But the fact that I'm not, now I'm sitting here like I don't like that idea.
Yeah. Gameplay in general is also a lot of people's like go-to when they feel like starting to be a content creator. A lot of people will start with gameplay content and just do a let's play. It's probably the more accessible option in terms of like you don't need a really fancy computer to like emulate Fire Red, right? Like you just need a microphone and OBS, and you're good to go. But it's also a very difficult space to stand out in. Like,
Yeah.
I've done let's plays on my channel for a number of reasons, just to kind of have more content, just to well, I was playing it anyway, and I was recording it anyway, so that I could use that footage in videos. So I also made that into a let's
We'll like
play.
recycle the content or whatever.
Yeah, but like probably the most successful let's play episode on my channel has like maybe 200 views, and besides that, it's like the majority is like under 50.
I think with like a lot of people, they want to try doing let's plays because like it does seem easier. But what I've noticed when I did let's plays and when I streamed at the beginning of the year is that you gotta have a very specific personality to make it work. Because back when I was streaming, I really wanted to do that because I wanted to just like chill with people while I played my video games. And what I've noticed is that all these big people, they were so loud and they just like over exaggerate themselves. And I tried to do that, but that just wasn't me. So
I always think like that's why I didn't grow as crazy as my peers did when I was like coming up together with them, because like they were all like these like crazy personalities or whatever, but when they were off camera, it was like they would be as like chill as they could be, and they'd be like, damn, like I kind of can't get my voice to sound like that, because I kind of wish I could like reach deep down and like make my voice do that, but it's just my octaves ain't like that. And I've always seen like little like comments here and there about like, oh, your content's boring, when it's like I'm just not loud.
Yeah.
I'm just not loud. Like I don't like, I'm pretty sure I can have a civil conversation with anybody. I know my vocabulary's big. I'm like, I don't know what you're talking about, but it just seems like what you want from a gaming content creator is the standard like hey, what's going on, everybody? Welcome to so and so, like that's what they want.
Right.
And it's like not everybody can deliver that. But I mean, at the same time, it's like you that's the whole luxury of this space, where it's like the community's so big and people are so different and content is so diverse that you can find whoever it is you're looking for if one person doesn't fit it. So I may not be somebody's taste or cup of tea, but there will be somebody who maybe is louder or maybe is quieter that does my job better, and that's fine.
I think it's almost like music in a way.
Yeah.
Like do you want the Pokemon YouTuber that is like rock music, real loud and excited, and every single thing you want to hit that next note with that much more power? Or do you want your lo-fi guy, someone that chills with you in the background? Like
I'm the lo-fi guy.
yeah, like True Green 7. There's a very very small part of me that's really nervous right now because I'm like I've been watching you for years. But you're the type of person I feel like I can sit in the side and just watch you casually without expecting you
Nice.
to be like, am I number 7 favorite Pokemon of all time? Like, if you were to do something like that, that would shock me. I don't know if it would
Really?
necessarily, just compared to like the rest of the content that you've made. That's sort of what I expect coming to you, and I know that's what I'm getting. And I'm personally more of the lo-fi type person versus the hardcore triple time rap when it comes to like Pokemon playthroughs. When it comes
Me
to
too.
casual things, I'm bopping Tech 9 all day.
What's funny is that I was I honestly replied to both of you in this case, where it's like I feel like specifically actually both of you two, your voices themselves are amazing. I feel like and your vocabulary, it's very nice to listen to you guys. So I feel like when you guys hone in, including me, when you just hone in on what you are as a person and make that your content, it does work, or it makes you feel more fulfilled. Obviously, it'll make you feel fulfilled when your content does amazingly in general, but like the content should be just you, and you shouldn't be like faking it or anything, and that's when it's fun.
Yeah.
Yeah. And Ron and Prima, the three of us, we have kind of similar content, kind of overlaps. It's not exactly the same, but we do kind of overlap. And our space is also fairly well populated. The kind of let's say the commentary Poketubing space.
What's funny is that like I feel like other than Loxton, there isn't really any huge Pokemon YouTuber anymore that talks about like lore and stuff.
I think it's really just Loxton, you, and I think Toby's getting up there. Like Toby's like slowly getting up there, but he's not like where you guys are at like sub count wise. Again, Pokemon lore is like a very niche thing in itself too, because like I remember back like old J-Wits and old Tamashi used to like literally be about like Pokemon like old history and like development history, stuff like that. Now it's kind of just like there's nobody that cares about it.
Yeah,
but it's very important. Like I don't that stuff is like damn near the basis of the games, and it's fun to talk about, fun to theorize from, to see where like they take from real world stuff as well. It's just weird that it's like never been an explored content, but I guess to your benefit, that's a good thing.
I feel like it's what Poketubing was sort of built on, in particular with J-Wits and Tama, but
yeah,
it has kind of dissipated a little bit more recently. Not as many.
I would assume because we know the stories already.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think the shift has changed as well from more about the storytelling. Pokemon in general, I think when looking really casually at the fan base, it shifted from a focus on like why this Pokemon to how can I use this Pokemon. Like I feel like
that's why I think challenge playthroughs are the number one.
I think False Swipe Gaming is at the top of it all, real talk.
Yeah,
because he has been doing the same like content since X and Y, and he has the ability of like being able to kind of regurgitate content the more games come out and the more changes come to the game. So it's one of those things that's like, okay, cool. He made an extra emphasis on like the competitive side of the community. What I've noticed is a lot of older Pokemon fans are always playing the games in a competitive manner, which is why people hate the idea of Pokemon being tailored towards kids and not them.
It's funny because like it really is like the ones who have like the consistent views even after like 4 years of making the same thing, like False Swipe Gaming. It really is like the challenge stuff. Like even I have to like constantly change my content. I have to like be aware of what people are watching, because like I, for example, I used to make a lot of top 10s. I haven't made top 10s in like 4 years maybe. So it's like no, like if I made a top 10 a year ago exactly, and it did terribly basically, when the same exact video would have gotten like 4 times the views years before. And even like our videos nowadays, like I'd say like 2021 2020, like Pokemon art videos and Fakemon videos were like there was a boom, and even now it's starting to die off. So it's like you have to constantly think about what's next if you're making general content?
I think for me, like in gameplay in general, it's so weird because like gameplay is like the biggest thing on YouTube. It has been since like 2015, 2014. And for me on the Pokemon spectrum, it was like I said, there's been so many people that have kind of like came and left because they didn't like, reap the benefits of them paying like hella money for a graphic design or whatever. So for me, it was like, how the hell do I stand out in a dying format that a lot of people are already like starting to like, fade away from, especially since, a lot of people in my audience, kind of stopped being around after all the crazy stuff in 2019. So it was like, okay, how do I reformat like the playthrough style? And I basically went right back to the basics. I'm like, if the basic stuff is getting 1 million views, then why are we spending hundreds of dollars and hundreds of dollars on a graphic design or hundreds of dollars on like a layout or something like that, when the stuff that's getting the views are the stuff that's like very simple to make? And so for me, it's like, how do I make the thumbnail stand out, the title stand out, because the content's already good? And it's very funny how like in the last like year and a half, everybody that said Let's Plays were dying are starting to make Let's Play content exactly how I am. And it's like, okay, I get it. I'm happy to like, somewhat put like a new like breath of fresh air into the medium. But it's like, all right, y'all, relax. I had to think about this for a while. Relax.
We're kind of already moving on to what the next kind of major topic was going to be. But I wanted to make sure that we get Prima Diva's perspective as well on what it takes to stand out and how you find your own voice.
Well, I've struggled with like standing out for a while in Pokemon, I say, because originally I did like typical, I did top 10 videos, I believe, but then, the biology thing started happening, and I've noticed that I've gathered not that many people who are necessarily into Pokemon biology, but when it comes to my speculative evolution Pokemon series, I've gathered quite a bunch of people in that, but I wouldn't necessarily call them primarily Pokemon fans. They seem to be primarily speculative evolution fans, which is nice, but it also kind of feels weird because it's like, oh, I'm just here for Respect Evo stuff. Because they usually take a really long time because, making Pokemon real over here. But yeah, that is fun though. It is fun when people do really get excited about those videos because it's like a niche within a niche, but the people who are fans about it are very, they're very happy whenever they see it. So that is very nice. And also with the whole standing out thing, I guess I also don't have a choice considering, as far as I know, I'm the only like trans woman who is really in the Poketubing sphere, I would say. So that also has an effect, I guess. Not that much though.
Have you considered making just like speculative evolution, maybe just biology of like creatures in general, like fictional creatures from any franchise?
I was literally just thinking about that.
Yes. My everyone, like, well, not everyone, but a lot of people have told me, "Oh, you're gonna make mermaids real? You're gonna make like Bigfoot real?" And I'm like, maybe. It is fun. It is really fun.
That might be something you want to like try and push, because I feel like while Pokemon may be like a passion of yours, I feel like when it comes to evolution and just biology, I feel like that's a big spectrum of things that like you could literally make a whole different channel and just kind of like get really into that, and there will be an audience that will like literally stop everything they're doing.
Yeah,
because that stuff's interesting to like just learn about and just watch.
Yeah, it has gotten a resurgence, I would say, nowadays, speculative evolution, with a lot of people creating like their alien planets and their alternate timelines. So yeah, I have given it some thought here and then. So who knows? Maybe.
I don't know if you're into like these franchises, but I would like love to know about like the anatomy or biology of like the animals in Avatar, or I don't know, the tailed beasts in Naruto or something like that. Like all the different fictional creatures that I can think of.
Yeah, I do consume a lot of content that has like weird creatures in it. So like the Chow from Sonic, how would those work?
Exactly.
Like
yeah.
that could Yeah, I have thought about it a lot. So who knows?
Let's go back to what we were kind of edging into before. How we become successful and what we consider success, because that's also relative.
True.
Ron, I believe you're the one here that has the biggest sub count, at least. So I wanted to start with you. I assume that content creation is your primary job, at least?
Yeah, definitely, yeah.
Okay. How for the rest of us? How many of us do it as a full-time job? Okay.
I do as a hobby.
I also do it as a hobby. Prima and Aduran, same for you?
Yeah, hobby.
Pretty much, yeah.
Yeah. It's very difficult to get to that point where you can turn to full-time. So, Ron, for you, how long did it take to get to that point where you felt like you could dedicate most of your time to that?
Yeah. So I started it literally a month before I entered college, right? And didn't make any, I'd say, money until enough for it to call it like a part-time job until like 3-4 years, let's say. Whatever a part-time job is. And then exactly when I graduated, that's when I had the time to actually spend, let's say, 40 hours a week into making videos. That's when I started my like creating art, creating Pokemon series, and just what my channel is now, basically, where videos that do take like a full-time job to make in terms of hours. And once I started doing that, that's when it started becoming once I treated it like a full-time job, it became a full-time job. Like I gave myself like a half a year to a year after I graduated to make it into a full-time job, or else I just would have, fallen animation. Did you ask success or just like in terms of job?
Like what's successful for you?
Yeah, both. Did you feel like you were successful before you were able to
turn
it into a job?
I definitely thought I was like successful before it was a full-time job.
What was that milestone?
So there's the milestone of like when my channel even like kicked off. I'd say like I made like a top 10 cute Pokemon video, and that's when like I started gaining subscribers. I went from like 100 to like 1,000 in like a month or so. And then like just kept on doing that, and then the channel was basically like it grew. Like I like the way my channel grew, where it wasn't exponential. There wasn't a boom. It really grew like really steadily. There was no point in my life except for like once. I think around like I don't know if maybe it was around Pokemon Go. I don't think it was because of Pokemon Go, but it was before it was September of 2016. It wasn't because of Pokemon Go, but it was literally like 2 months
It was part
after
of that moment.
It was maybe part of that moment that there was a boom there. But other than that, the channel grew steadily. Even when I made it my full-time job, like I said, and the channel became even more successful, it still was growing steadily. There was no boom. So it was just this stream of being content until I stopped making like top 10s and facts and stuff and focused again on more like videos that take longer to make. That's when I started feeling more fulfilled in my life, at least in terms of my channel, where I was just making anything. I was making, at least in my perspective, art. And I feel like, now I'm more fulfilled. I wasn't fulfilled. I was more just like, it was a successful YouTube channel. Now I'm both, enjoying some kind of success and also fulfilled in my life for now.
Well, it's a great place to be. How about you, Sacred? Let's try to do by, like, kind of roughly going by our sub counts. I think, Sacred, out of us, you're number 2.
Mm-hmm.
So how long did it take you to get to the point where you considered yourself successful?
I guess 2019. I think as a kid, I kind of like looked up to like the wrong people, and I tried to be like so much like them in terms of like just content creation entirely. But then I realized that's not who I was at all. And then it was like literally when I was left alone, it was kind of just like, all right, I can do this. I can do this by myself. And you start putting more of yourself out there, You start like talking and doing things that you want to do. So that's where the fulfillment part comes in. But in terms of success, I mean, I'm able to, you know, pay rent, pay bills and stuff with this stuff. So I mean, it's just a blessing altogether. So I guess success and contentment have been achieved in, I guess, like 2 years.
I'm sitting here applauding, but I don't think Discord would catch that. It's like, yeah, rent payment, woo.
Yeah. Was there a particular milestone that when you reach that you're like, okay, now I feel like I'm doing well?
So it's weird because I'd never look at like sub count for like that type of stuff, because I realized that like sub count doesn't really like matter when you look at like, you know, the reception of it all, because it's like you can upload a video, like there are a million subscriber channels that upload and only get about like 10K views, 25K views, 30K views. So it's like, damn, where'd the rest of those million subscribers go? Like, where are they at? And it's like, okay, cool. Once you like let go of like the sub count number and start focusing more on like the actual like content and the videos, and like just kind of just like, how well did this video do? What do people like? Where did they kind of like fall off? When you focus on the individual videos themselves, I feel like is when you start to like really start understanding like where you fit in this whole thing, and then also who you kind of appeal to.
Mm-hmm. Do you two use like look at your analytics a lot to figure out not just what was successful, but what you should be doing next?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, me too.
Raph, how about you? What was your road to success?
So I do YouTube as a hobby, and it wasn't until roughly around, I'd say, 2020 when I started to notice that, okay, this is starting to pick up a bit now, because I started my channel in 2013, and then during school times I wasn't really focused on it that much, and I hit, for example, I think it was 10,000 subscribers 3 years later. I was like, you know, when you hit 5 digits, like, oh wow, I feel so big now and everything. But then I didn't really understand the concept of making a video, trying to build an audience. I was just too busy trying to get that 10,000, and I was making whatever video it may be, whatever rumor or whatever leak was coming up on 4chan. I would sit down, make the video and put it out there.
I got so tired of those.
Yeah, and I look back at it now and I was like, oh my gosh, what was I doing? I could have been sitting down making some proper content that I would look back and be like, damn, I enjoyed that video. Because don't get me wrong, I love to watch all my videos back, even if it is like a 2-minute video talking about the water type gym that's going to be in Sun and Moon, which obviously wasn't the thing back then. But it wasn't until 2020 that I noticed that it started to pick up for me, and it wasn't more about the subs or like the views, it was more about the engagement, because I started to see a lot of people comment on my videos saying, oh, great video, I really enjoyed this, I love your discussion. And that's what motivated me to like push this a bit more seriously. And as time went by, when I was making more videos and I was developing my content, making my own graphics, animating things, scripting, and, you know, just coming up with the videos, that's when I noticed the growth was starting to accelerate much more. And yeah, it wasn't until roughly around, I'll say, end of 2020 where I started to look at it and I said, wow, I've managed to double my sub count in just 7 months, and, you know, I'm getting a lot of great feedback from it. And I would look at the analytics and I'll try my best to analyze which videos were, for example, getting the most traffic or most engagement. And I was like, okay, people seem to enjoy this, and of course it was all related to the Pokemon anime, so I just focused on that. And yeah, it's been doing really well ever since. And the main thing, like I said from before, is I just love the engagement with the viewers, because they're the ones that watch the videos at the end of the day. They're the ones that comment saying, oh, I want you to make this video. In my Discord server, I always ask people, what videos would you like me to make? Because even though I would love to make videos that I would want to see on the platform that I enjoy making, of course, if someone's got an idea that they think, oh, I think your opinion and your discussion on this video would do great, then I'll say, okay, cool, I'll just make the video, see how it goes. I couldn't really care if it gets, like, you know, 10,000 views, 100,000 views. I mean, don't get me wrong, if it hits 100,000 views, then okay, cool, that's great, thank you very much, I really appreciate that. But I really love the engagement side to it, because without, of course, the viewers and the engagement, that's my motivation. So that's the main thing for me.
Yeah, I think I'm up next in terms of the sub counts, but yeah, like I'm still at the point where like I'm growing fairly slowly, occasionally I will look at my like the graph of my sub growth for like the lifetime of the channel, and it's kind of funny because it looks like stairs almost. It's just like very minimal growth, and then I will do like a collab or something, and then it jumps up a lot. My big milestone that was when I first considered myself successful to some degree was when Toby featured a video that I made on his channel, and at the time I had like 100 subscribers, and this was like a January video. I think it was his first video of the year was my video, so it was like a fairly slow time, but my channel jumped from about 100 to like 800 in a day. That was when I first was like, okay, like I'm doing good. Like I'm doing good work. And at this time when I was not even monetized, that's as much as I can really hope for. And yeah, like throughout the rest of my career, it's been kind of like that. I'll just have a moment where either one of my videos just takes off on its own, usually an older video, and I don't really know why that video is the one that took off.
It's always the ones you least expected to.
Yeah. Or I'll get a collaboration or a shout out or something, and then I can see that like that jump. But I'm at the point still where I feel like if I was trying to make videos that would like get the most views or get me the most growth, that one, it would probably be more work than the return would be, and unfortunately I don't have time for that. And also that I the videos that I see getting the most attention are not the kinds of videos I want to make.
Yeah,
same.
My big thing right now is that obviously videos about Brilliant Diamond Shining Pearl and Pokemon Legends,
those videos are
yeah,
those videos are everywhere for good reason though, obviously.
Exactly, it is for a good reason, but because of the way that I prefer to enjoy the games, I haven't looked at any information about Pokemon Legends since the very first reveal, or I guess technically since the release dates were announced, which was a little bit later. But like, I'm not looking at any content that talks about Pokemon Legends, which also means I'm not making any content that talks about Pokemon Legends, and so I'm very much like missing out on some of that. But that's what I kind of need to do to be happy with what I'm doing. If I was looking at everything and making all the videos, maybe I would be getting, maybe I'd be getting more growth, but then by the time I actually play the game, I wouldn't enjoy it as much. And so, like, at the stage that I'm at with only 4,000 subscribers, that's a trade-off worth making.
I respect that. I think that's what everybody should be doing in terms of not sacrificing your enjoyment of the franchise for your channel.
Yeah, but it's tough. It's tough to make that decision.
Yeah, like what you're doing is, I couldn't do that. But like, and I think I stay away from at least not consuming it too much. But like, if you're making a YouTube channel, you shouldn't a Pokemon channel. You shouldn't get to the point where either you're burnt out of Pokemon because you're playing too much or reading too much, or I mean, people do, and their channels still are intact. But like, it's just, it kind of breaks my heart a little bit when I see that. Mm-hmm. It's like seeing someone like not like their like dog or something for like a month.
Yeah. Duran, how about you? Where are you at, and what was your measure of success?
It's weird being comparing the podcast universe to YouTube channels, because it's not as simple as this is how many people that are following you, right? It's not as simple as there's a subscribe button. So the closest thing I have is to the number of views, I guess, or listens to episodes. And even that is relatively small. Like I'm looking at it right now. For the show's history, it's 13,500 ish, which isn't too big. I mean, it's a decent size, especially considering it's a niche show in a niche part of a niche category. Even though Pokemon is very big in the podcasting world, it's a drop in the bucket. Um, so in a way, I haven't, and partly because of like grand delusions of success, I haven't reached that success point. Because I'm always looking at, okay, but this is the next goal I can reach, next goal I can reach. So it's hard for me, at least currently, to look back and say, okay, here's what I've accomplished. I could do that. The problem is that it would answer the next question, which I don't want to get into that too much. But um, so in a way, I'm still striving for some goal that isn't established yet in the future. As of right now, that just might be because of it's been relatively short like a timeline compared to everybody else, and um, just that I've constantly continued to look at the next goal. So
Were there any milestones along the way that even if you didn't quite think like I've made it now, but that you're like I feel like I'm doing good work?
I think so. The story itself is structured in arcs in a way. So when we finished our first arc, I felt like that was really like a moment like, oh, we actually like myself and my two compatriots, my players, we sat down and actually went through an arc of the story. The story itself is like a grand scheming, the whole world is going to explode unless you solve the problem sort of situation. So they've solved a very minute aspect of the grand problem, but the fact that we were able to sit down over the course of a couple of months and go through this story from start to end was that first milestone. That's like, okay, we actually not only have the ability to do this, but the dedication to stick with it. Because the problem with a lot of TTRPG games in general that you play with your friends is being able to finish that story. Because a lot of people will just drop out after a couple of sessions or something like that. So the fact that we got that first arc done, recorded, and then eventually published was like, okay, we actually, if we can do this for one arc, why can't we do it for two arcs and three arcs and so on? So that's the biggest milestone. In terms of numbers, I guess the cool numbers like the 1,000 views, the 10,000. That's things that are really cool. I'm obsessed for some reason with the Fibonacci sequence. So anytime we reach a number for that, I'm like, whoa, we did that, even though it's in the grand scheme of thing completely pointless. But
Hey, you're copying me. That's what I do.
I think I stole that from you. I also stole the not watching Pokemon content for games that are coming out soon thing from you as well, and I'm blaming you for that, even though it has definitely helped me enjoy the games better on the first playthrough. I'm still blaming you for that.
I will happily take that blame if it means that you're enjoying the game more when you actually play it.
This is a complete side tangent, but I think I did that for Ultra Moon when I came out. I didn't watch anyone's content or playthrough because my idea was like, okay, if I don't watch any of that stuff, then I can go in and be completely surprised. And as a fan of storytelling sort of games, and the fact that despite the number of cutscenes in the game, it was a very solid storytelling game. I found the enjoyment was a lot better than had I known about the Ultra Necrozma fight at the end. Like that
Oh,
surprised
wow.
me in a way that had I known about it from another playthrough, it wouldn't have surprised me as much because I would have either prepared for it or once I reached that moment, I'm like, this setting looks very familiar. Oh yeah, there's the big thing at the end. So doing the same thing now, like I to this day do not know the plot of Sword and Shield. I just recently got those games, and so I'm intrigued to know. I know like Eternatus is a thing, and like there are Reggies that are new, and that's about the extent. Like anything that I've used directly in the show is kind of a thing I know, and then outside that, like some of the Pokemon that are there, but for the most part, don't know the story of that too much. So I'm excited to go through that and explore that for the first time.
Well, I hope you enjoy it. Prima, how about you? Was there a point for you that at the very least made you think like this is something worth continuing?
I guess I would say when I first got my like huge surge of subscribers, which I actually got through Tumblr back in 2019, I believe, because this is kind of a weird thing to gain subscribers for, but I basically went on Tumblr, made this huge post, and I was like, "Hey everyone, do you want to see a trans woman make content?" And then I got a surge of subscribers, and I'm pretty sure like barely like not that many people actually started watching. They just subscribed, and wasn't really much of a good idea in hindsight, but. It did make me feel like, whoa, I'm actually going somewhere. And when I had the 1K subscribers, I believe that was after I collabed with Toby, or no, actually, I'm not sure about that. But when I did the collabing and started to like getting to know more YouTubers, I think that also had a lot to do with like the feeling of success. I mean, when I collabed with Toby, man, I remember I was in a call with him for the very first time, and I was like, oh man, I'm actually going to do this. I'm going to talk to the Bird Keeper Toby. And at the end, it was like, oh yeah, he's just a chill dude. So when I started to like, get into the community more and see other YouTubers as just other people instead of like these gods on top of pillars, I think that's also, I don't know, for some weird reason that feels like success. I don't know, but...
Oh, I feel that completely. I'm doing that right now with all 5 of you.
Yeah.
I'm doing a thing with all of these people. Wow.
Yeah, no, it's absolutely a very good feeling. Like, the first time I reached out to Ron, I don't know, a couple years ago, to ask him to contribute to my Team Tree video, I was like, hi, I'm Umbreon Libris, this is what I do, I have a very small channel, blah blah. And then he gets back to me, I was like, oh yeah, I've seen some of your content. Like, that's like, whoa.
Oh my god, he saw my stuff.
Yeah,
you never know who's watching you. I think that's the big takeaway here, because I know a lot of people, just bigger content creators, I feel like a lot of people probably think that they would get like really like stuck in like their content, but I'm pretty sure everybody and their mom wants to still be doing this years down the line, so it's like, okay, cool, what are people doing now, like what's the interest now? And you might fuck around and find something that you really like that by somebody who's like no subscribers at all. It's like, damn, like I really mess with this guy's videos.
What's funny is that I don't think Sacred knows that I actually skimmed through like his new playthroughs of like new Pokemon games. Like I actually watched a lot of his like Sword and Shield playthrough.
That Sword and Shield playthrough was crazy, and I didn't know that at all. You never know who's watching. Exactly. Big or small. Yeah. They might, your biggest supporter might be somebody who's, I don't know, a day trader who has a lot of money, so whenever you like stream, he just gives you hella subs or whatever. It's like, oh my god.
That explains.
You never know.
So let's move on to the maybe not as nice side of things. It's content creation can be a lot of fun, but it can also be very stressful. And Prima, right now you're in a hiatus. Are you still in a hiatus?
Yes, I was just about to say, my part's coming up. Yeah, I've been on a hiatus ever since, I think it's been, let me actually check. It's been at least 2 months. Basically, I was like doing a lot of content. I was like not really growing that much. And it didn't click with me anymore. And I don't know, I was doing like weekly videos. Nothing really happened. I asked other people for advice, and they were all like, oh, you should do this, your work is good, but your thumbnails aren't that good, your titles aren't as like clickbaity, no one's gonna click on part 2, get rid of the part 2. And so I did all of that, and it didn't really do anything. So at first it was like, okay, I'm gonna do a video weekly, and then it's like, okay, let's not do that anymore, let's do twice a month. And I was like, okay, it's not really happening. Let's take a break for a month. So I did that, came back. Immediately the first day, everything got screwed up. YouTube was not having fun with me that day. and then it just happened again. And I also kind of found a new passion. Well, I wouldn't say new passion. I still want to do YouTube, but from the age of like I think 14, when I was very young, I always wanted to do art and be good at art and like draw, and I never really did that because I always thought that I wasn't going to be as good, even though now I know like yeah, it takes patience and all that stuff. So I'm kind of doing that right now. It'd be awesome to like make a comic or something. So I guess that like in the beginning that took up a lot of time, and then I was like, wait a second, I can't do both of this. I can't do both of this at once. You know, it was really hard to balance for me. So I was like, okay, well, let's just focus on the art stuff for right now, and I don't really have that much ideas for Pokemon. I still don't. I honestly have no idea what my next video is going to be about. I have literally zero ideas. And, you know, I am working on this little, I guess, Fakemon region in the back of my mind in the meantime, but that's also going really slow, and I don't even know if it'll be popular next year. I can't imagine. Imagine sticking that much money into it and then just, like, seeing it sink or something next year.
True.
But yeah, like, it's not fun, you know. It also feels kind of weird being here because, like, I'm not active at all, you know. I don't know. It is very. I recommend it very heavily that one takes breaks though. I was just mentally destroying myself by uploading like every week, like trying to get a video out as soon as possible. Half of the time it was just like, okay, so I had this idea once, let's just stretch it out for 10 minutes and let's go. And it just doesn't really work. You got to be passionate about it. And at that point I wasn't really anymore. And I'm still waiting for the passion to come back. I think maybe around Legends Arceus, maybe even Gen 9, new Pokemon. That's always interesting. I don't know. Maybe I'll even combine art or something with Pokemon, although I'll probably have to study for at least 5 more years until I'm that good. You know, I very heavily recommend that people do take breaks because it became an obsession for me, a very unhealthy one. And I think I just wanted to be... I was also obsessed with just, like, getting the numbers to go up high, because it just wasn't. And I don't know, it's just... I had a collab with Toby as well a few months ago, and I thought that would, like, you know, get me my passion back. And it was really fun working with him. But when I had that collab out, that was just around the time when I started to get into art again, and that was, like, not a good combination. So I thought it would, like, revitalize my interest, but it just didn't. I was like, yeah, the extra something, I think it was like 300 subs are nice, but and yeah, I just kind of don't know what to do right now. So yeah.
Yeah. Do you do all of the work on your channel yourself, right? Like, I know that you outsource art sometimes, but
yeah, sometimes.
Scripting, editing, all that is you? Yeah,
scripting is me. Editing is an editor, sometimes. I think, you know, when I do come back, I'll probably hire another editor again, maybe. It's just nice to not be able to do it myself because I am extremely, what's the word for it? I wouldn't say lazy, but I just don't end up doing it right on time. What's that called? Executive dysfunction, something like that. Terrible with editing. Absolutely terrible with that. I'm also just really lazy. I'll just be all like, okay, it's done. And if I have an editor, I mean, they'll do a better job.
Nick, how about you? Do you do all of the work on your channel yourself?
Not recently. I literally just got an editor, like, I want to say in June or May, because I was going through like I think I hit like a burnout because it was kind of, not even because like I just got tired of like the Pokemon content. It was kind of just like, I don't know what's next because I'm not going to lie to you. I am not really feeling the new Pokemon games. I'm one of the only few people that I feel like are open to admit that those games don't look good. And so like,
I mean, I agree.
And so like, for me, it's like, damn, like, you know, as a Pokemon channel, you know, I may have these other avenues of like income and I may have these other avenues of like, you know, expression. How do I still keep like I guess the content here if like my interest in the newer stuff isn't like anything crazy. So at some point I kind of like I got like really consumed in that thought, and it was kind of just like, damn, like I guess this is where I take my departure from Mons. But I'm like, wait a minute, I'm like I don't need to be, I don't need to be that guy and like kiss Pokemon's ass every time they do something I don't like, but just because I want to look good for some viewers or whatever, it's like I don't have to be that guy. So I'm like, okay, cool. And I just so happened to meet somebody around that time that was just like, yeah, I can edit your videos if you need like, time away or whatever. So I would like record and I just send them to him or whatever. He just kind of just constantly just came through every time that I had a video out or needed a video out. And at some point, I just took like a 2 or 3 week break off and whatever. And I was just like, all right, cool. I think I hit my stride again. And I kind of just been, whenever I don't have time, whenever I'm doing too many videos in like 1 week or whatever, I'll send him like maybe like 4 or 5 of them. Be like, all right, here you go. And I'll just do the rest.
Raph, how about you? Did you do all of the work yourself?
Yep, everything is myself. I edit my videos, I script them, record everything's myself. I do outsource sometimes for some art, but apart from that, yeah, I do everything myself. It proves itself to be a bit stressful sometimes because during like my earlier years of content creation, when I was studying at university, it would be I go to my lectures, travel home, script on the bus, get straight in, make my food, and then start recording and start editing. And then before I know it, it's going to be late hours, like 1 o'clock, 2 o'clock in the morning, and then I have to go to sleep. And then I wake up the next day about 8 o'clock in the morning, got to catch the bus straight back to university. But for me personally, I feel a lot of satisfaction for when I edit and do everything myself, because there's been times where I've made projects and they've crashed so many times, and like recently I had a project that crashed God knows how many times, and the original project file got deleted, and I was like, okay, let me start again. I started again, and I felt a lot of happiness after going through all of that, because one, the video came out much cleaner compared to what I remembered it being from the project file from before, and I gave myself a pat on the back because it allowed me to work in a tight deadline. Of course, it was a bit stressful and a little bit tiring as well, but for me personally, I just prefer to do everything myself. I have had some editors reach out to me, and I've said I really do appreciate it, but I just do this on my own back, really, and that's how I've always been doing it.
Mm-hmm. Do you take breaks at all?
Yes, I do, yes. I try to take a break at least, well, I say at least, but once a month, because what I do is I upload weekly, so within a month that's 4 uploads, and then I try and take a break as well. And because I cover the Pokemon anime, there's been quite a lot of breaks as well within the anime, so if there's a break that's scheduled to happen, then I'll just take a break during then as well, because there's not really much for me to cover, and it gives me time, of course, to just catch up with things as well. And then the following week I just hit it all again, and that's it.
Do you feel like that's working out for you, that you're taking enough breaks, that you're, I guess, avoiding the burnout well enough?
Yeah, definitely. Yeah, definitely, because I noticed that during my time back at university, when, let's say, I think it was when movie 21 came out for Pokemon, and I was just making constant content during that time while studying for my final exams, and it wasn't until the year after that the burnout was starting to catch up on me, and that's when I took a whole year break from YouTube, and I was feeling very demotivated because I was thinking to myself, I could have just paced myself a little bit more. I mean, I got the grades that I really wanted, so I was very happy about that, and I managed to do really well with the channel. But it wasn't until the new year that I started to realize that I feel really burnt out, and I feel like I've missed out on so many things, like going out with my friends, for example, or just like relaxing and just playing games. And I had a backlog of things that I needed to catch up on because I was so, I was so hungry to try and get these videos out. And then after that, I was like, okay, video's out now, I could just relax and chill. But yeah, as the years have gone by now, I've definitely started to implement a lot more breaks, because at the end of the day, like I said, this is just my hobby. If it was my full-time job, and I can't really speak for like Ron or Nick on this one, because obviously they do it completely different to how I do, but if it was my full-time job and I was starting to like push out constant content, trying to make it like, something that I could just, when I go to sleep and then I can wake up in the morning, I can see this amazing amount of growth, then that would probably be a little bit like extreme for myself, and I tried my best not to get like that, do you know what I mean? But yeah, taking the breaks regularly is definitely something that's helped me a lot as well. And I'm comfortable with making one video a week. Like that's what I do anyway. I make one video a week, and then when that upload's done, I take a day to just
everyday life.
Yeah, exactly, man. Just this isn't my being a quote unquote content creator isn't my ambition. It's just something that I do on the side because I work full time already. So when I come back from work, I chill, script, make a video if I want to, or just record it when I can, and then I just upload it during the week. It's not like a set schedule, but I do obviously try to upload once a week, but it's not like, in terms of the day, it's not like, oh, Monday's definitely going to be the day that I upload, and if I don't, then it'll be Tuesday. Because as time's gone by, for what I've learned, I try not to force it. I just go natural with it, and I always speak to my audience to let them know, like, I'm going to be taking a break, and they're very, very understanding. I'm very grateful for that as well, because you get some viewers that are like, oh, why aren't you taking the time to upload? What's taking you so long? And I feel that's like something people don't realize as well. Like us content creators, we have our lives, and if we do it for a hobby or a full-time job, we've still got other commitments going on. And surprisingly, people just think like, we can snap our fingers and then, we've got an MP4 file that's ready to upload when we've got so much to get it ready.
Oh like, my God, honestly,
for real. It's crazy how they just think we've got like these magical powers. It's like what Primo was saying, like, people look at us as like some quote unquote gods, and like, you know what, whilst it is very, very nice for them to think of us highly like that, I look at them and I'm just a human being that just makes some videos on the internet for your entertainment, and that's about it. Because don't get me wrong, I've been watching Ron's content, I've been watching Mike's content, and it's a cycle, it's the same thing. We're just people that make the content for enjoyment and entertainment purposes. But
I've been on a very big fuck you run recently to like entitled viewers. I don't understand, because it almost feels like at some point when you like constantly get bombarded with like, oh yeah, you should be doing this, or it's your job, or this is not how you run a business, and yada yada yada, and it's like, dude, like, I'm a human being just like you, right? It feels like you're like a goddamn like circus animal, damn near, where it's like, damn, like I want to have my days off too. Like, you watching me on your off time and stuff. When do I get off time to even get the inspiration to make the videos you watch?
What's funny is that like during Sun and Moon, literally the day after Sun and Moon release, which was on like a Friday, and I released on a Saturday. Back then I released on a Sunday, but my videos take, let's say, a week to make, right? Literally 2 days after Sun and Moon comes out, people are like, why aren't you making Sun and Moon content? When I haven't even like gotten through like 20% of the game, and again, it takes me a week to make a video. That was the last time I cared.
I feel like the viewers, they don't appreciate the process as well. Like it's like you guys were saying, they think we can just do it instantly, and they don't realize. Yeah, it's like, for real. Like when I was watching content creators and their content, I'm thinking, oh, all of this amazing graphics, this animation, they must be geniuses to do it so quickly. But then when I taught myself how to make a moving background, I was like, damn, that is not easy. Yeah. And that took me time to make. And I was like, wow, I really anticipated that. And I was like, it makes you realize that, there's a lot more that goes on behind closed doors when you're sitting down at your desk and you're using your editing software to make things. Like, I remember watching Ron's videos about how he drew Fakemon, and like, I was like, wow, it takes time and effort to like, get the precise shading and just like the actual stencil of what the Pokemon looks like. I mean, I can't draw for anything, so props to Ron, of course. Like, you got the artistic talent, and it's probably much easier for you to do it when you're on your tablet and everything. But I was thinking, wow, like people don't realize that. People don't realize that it's just something that they think can just happen overnight.
Thanks, by the way.
No worries, man.
And I think this applies to probably all of us. Like, the majority of our audience is understanding with this kind of thing, with the amount of work, with when we need to take breaks, that kind of thing. But yeah, occasionally you'll get that viewer, and of course, if you have a bigger audience, it's going to be more of them. I feel like that's at least partly something that you can not control exactly, but like you can foster having a good relationship with your audience, right? And of course, the bigger the audience is, the more you're going to have people who don't fit in, I guess, who don't quite get it. But
I do think that there has been some kind of like discussion. Like I feel like these discussions the last few maybe 2 years about like this whole concept of like parasocial relationships and just content creators just in general has gotten people to loosen up about it a little bit and actually see content creators as people instead of just, endless consumption machines.
Yeah, nowadays people even like every time you get like a sponsor, they love it. They root for it.
Back in the day, if you were to have a Raid Shadow Legends sponsorship, they would be like, you are a sellout. You are doing it for the money. How dare you? But now it's like, oh, he getting a bag. Let's go. They applaud it. They love that. I'm like, let's go. Like it's like, damn, like, we live in a time now where you can make a living off of this stuff. But like, there's so many years I remember like just kind of just being around and seeing these people who like honestly would make chump change, but these are kids. They're like, they're making like $300-500 a month or whatever. They're in high school, like being able to pay for everything or whatever. And it's like, it's just dope to see like this is how far we've come. And you could literally make like, hey, you could, you got brands hitting you up for like $5,000 sponsorships. And you normally would have gotten like maybe with YouTube ads nowadays, you probably would have maybe got like, $100 off that video, but here's an extra 1,000 added to it.
Yeah, I don't want to ask like how much you guys make, but how much of a share is it like between ad revenue versus Patreon, if you have that, versus sponsorships?
I think it's finding whatever platform pays you the best, and then like having a good like I guess business mind or like being really open to like negotiate and knowing what you bring to the table. Like this is why like analytics are so important. You get to see like what gets views, what gets views over time, how much the video people are watching, when do they drop off, stuff like that. And you're able to use that data as like a means of like kind of like negotiating with these companies whenever they do hit you up, which is always a good thing because the more information the better deal you can get from them. But then also, everybody and their mom recently has been trying to find ways to monetize, their supporters. And I mean, a long time ago, it was really just merchandise, but now we're in a new time where people can go to Patreon, people can go to like the YouTube memberships, or they can, you can make your own whole website if you wanted to and like do like little like exclusive things and get all of the money. And it's just about like, it's just really whatever platform you think fits you and just leading people that have it, that, aren't obligated to it all, but they want to. And just be like, hey, so this is the platform that I use. If you all want to support me, this is where we're going.
Yeah, I don't recommend it. It's not a good thing, but like, yeah, my revenue is like, my income is 99% YouTube ad revenue, which is like, wow, I have a Patreon, I have Patreon, I have, merch. I mean, like, it's not like those don't exist. It's just that, yeah, it's not even close to how, compared to what I make on YouTube. And, I would not, I haven't actively looked for it. I've asked my brother, but I would not mind a manager that goes out and asks for like, gets me sponsorships. I pay them like 10%. Like I obviously I get emails for sponsorships every day, but like I accept.
It's hard to find the genuine one that works for you.
I only will accept ones that I actually will try or know about as in know that they're good, but like, I accept like 1 or 2 a year, and that's not good. I don't like. I wish I could have one every month or something, but
especially now with like the spam folder, dude, because like there's so many like fake sponsor emails. It's like, dog, I'm not gonna call you on Kick. What's happening here?
Hello, creator. We have a great opportunity.
Yeah, we
for
love
you.
your
We saw your recent video about.
Then you can contact us at soandsoemail.com. Here's the WhatsApp number. Here's the Kick profile name. Like, Kick? What?
I've never even heard of Kick, but okay, good. But yeah, like at the point that I'm at, ad revenue, obviously it fluctuates a lot, but I almost every month I'm making more money off of Patreon than I am off of ad revenue. Like on the best months, it's about 50-50.
That's good. No, that's 100% good.
I have a feeling you have more patrons than me even. I'm just like, I don't have that many patrons, and that's like a problem. I really should be like pushing Patreon.
I've been watching a lot of like these what would you call them, YouTube gurus or whatever, and like they've always been very like the last year and a half, and I've noticed a lot of creators are starting to do this too, like just bigger non-Pokemon content creators, but they're really trying to like do the whole monthly subscription based services type things, and I kind of fear like it's alluding to something coming up in the future that nobody just knows about, besides like a distinct few people. But like learning how to monetize your audience is something that like as a creator I feel like you should 100% push for, especially when ads do fluctuate. You know, nobody wants to sit here and, you know, have to stress about their bills in January, the worst month of all time, and then the recovering February. You know, that sucks. It's like Christmas. I remember growing up, it was like Christmas whenever like October would come around, because you start getting the holiday ads, and it's like, oh my God, whoa, let's go, extra $5 increase to the ad rates. And it's like, all right, well, damn. But now it's like, hey guys, you're $5 a month, which converts to like, who knows, depending on what platform, $4.50, $4.32. Some platforms take 50%, like Twitch. Your $2.50 or whatever, like that contributes to the greater thing, like the greater picture, because, you know, these ads are not reliable. Luckily, you know, recently I feel like they've been the best they've ever been.
This is advice, I guess, for you. If YouTube is your number one source of income, I'd say like plan out when you release what kind of content based on the month. You should definitely learn when you make the most, when the ad revenue is the most, because like, for example, I release all my experimental stuff on like January, all the things that I don't think are gonna do well, and sometimes they do well, and then I have a new series. But like the stuff that you do really well, you want to release on, you know, November, December, or the last month of every quarter. You got to learn that. That's important.
Yeah, those ad cycles are very, very important. Holidays, Super Bowls, all that stuff.
What's weird is September seems to be sometimes as good as like November.
They're not ready for that conversation. They're the back to school ads sometimes.
Yeah,
it's weird because it'd be like, you would think like, okay, it's a little extra $2, but like recently they've been jumping like maybe an extra 5 or 6. It's like, oh my God, wait a minute, did the holiday ads hit early? No, exactly. No, these are the back to school. Come get your pens and pencils. Here's this sports starts coming back up too. Basketball starts moving around. It gets crazy.
It's weird though, because like, yes, the ad revenue is way more, but like I do get like less views on September because people are back to school and work and stuff like that. So it's a weird time in September.
Maybe you get paid more for, I guess, a compensation thing.
Yeah, so in the end, September's always fine, but like,
yeah. We've sort of drifted a little bit from the topic that we were focusing on before, the potential issues with burnout. And of course, making money really helps. Having income from your content really helps to avoid that burnout, to keep you motivated. But Ron, we hadn't gone to you yet. Do you ever take breaks?
What is considered a break?
Dog. Yo, let's go. Exactly. What's a break?
I mean, I don't work 7 hours a day, but like I don't work on Saturday, let's say, and half of like Sunday and Friday maybe sometimes, but like even like Saturday, I'm still like when you're your own boss, you're still thinking of work even when you're taking a break. But if you're talking about like a break, I haven't taken like a vacation or anything in like 6 years or something like that, at least from YouTube. But what's interesting is that up until like 2019, though, I wasn't uploading weekly. I was uploading 2 weeks in a row, and then actually 3 weeks in a row, and then a break, and then back to that cycle. But ever since, again, when I started thinking of this as a full-time job, then it's every week.
And you haven't missed a week since you started doing that? Or skipped, not necessarily missed, but...
Not if it wasn't scheduled. Like, let's say I'm like, okay, this is the first, I don't upload like the first week of January. I don't upload sometimes, like April Fool's, instead of an actual video that week, April Fool's video. Sometimes when it's scheduled, I haven't by mistake I haven't been able to not fulfill the creation of a video when I plan to.
And do you do it all yourself?
Yeah, in terms of, other than like the zone map, my regions map, and although I technically made the beta map and then they made the full art and like the line art for some characters in my region. The normal videos, it's all me. And I wish it wasn't. Like, I would, like, the problem is that like I've gotten to the point where actually editing is not the bulk of the videos anymore. The time, like, it, especially for like the art videos, it's like 3 days working on the actual art, scripting, recording, and stuff like that, and then like 2 hours of editing. And then the video's done. So it's like I can't like pass it on to anybody. I'm not going to pay someone for 2 hours of editing. And like the normal videos, like the videos that aren't art related, like, you know, like an essay video or like an opinion video, I feel like I have all like the Premiere presets and all the footage that I've downloaded over the years and gotten over the years. Like, it's like it wouldn't be as good if I just gave it to someone else. Like, I also I enjoy the cuts that I do. Like, it's very fast paced, or just like the way I cut, I enjoy, and it's just I'm not gonna be as confident in the video if I pass it on, which I don't recommend. I would love to be at a point where, let's say, maybe I make a second channel and that channel is edited by someone else.
When I started, I was doing a video a week, or at least a video a week. Occasionally I'd do an extra one. And I went 2 years over 2 years actually, without missing a single week.
Wow.
But then I think it was in part because of the pandemic and just my like stress levels in general being higher. I felt like I needed to slow down a little bit. And so since then I've been doing, I still kind of do a weekly video, but if there's a week that I either don't have the motivation to finish a video, or I don't have the time because I have a lot of work to focus on, I don't sweat it. And thankfully my audience is very understanding of that. I don't think I've ever gotten a comment, like demanding a video, which is really nice. It was important to just kind of know my limit, I guess. Like, I enjoy having the conversations that I have through my videos. Being able to put my opinion out there, being able to read the comments, and of course, like, I always do my best if the comment is at least somewhat thought out and, I have something to respond. I always try to respond to everything that I can. So yeah, like, I like having the conversations around the videos. I actually really don't like making the videos. The time it takes to write the script, to record, and especially to edit, if I could afford it, I would not be doing those parts. At least I would not be editing.
If I didn't enjoy editing, I wouldn't be doing it.
Yeah, and just like, for me to, like, obviously I want to pay whoever might be editing for me one day, and I've hired editors for like individual videos here and there when I was low on time, but like, for me to pay them well, I'm usually paying more than a month's worth of income for one video. Of course, like, that's the stage that I'm at, right? If I add an extra 0 to the end of my subscriber count, maybe I'll be able to do it a little bit more often. But like, at this stage, I can't. Having to sit down in front of Premiere Pro for 2 to 5 hours a week, not fun. And so that was definitely part of the reason that I decided to slow down. It was just, I don't enjoy doing this, this part specifically. Yeah, Durin, do you do all of the editing yourself?
Yeah, everything on the show, with the exception of what the other players say, is done by me. So yeah, I think it helps in a way that the show is structured very improv-y. So there's not usually for good shows, they'll plan events and structure the plot out in advance. And I don't do that because I am not good at this. Um, it's very much more improv-y, and so as a result, there's less preparation going into the recordings. And then as soon as the recording is done, is where all of the big work comes into play of editing out the editing the episodes and going through and making sure that everything is cut nice and neatly. And then I tend to give myself extra work. So one thing that I've done for the show is create arc summary episodes, so that if you are a person coming into the show now, rather than listening to the 50 plus episodes and the 55, 60 hours worth of content, you can listen to each of the summary episodes for the arc and get an overall gist of what's going on in, I think the arc 0, 1, 2, 3 summary episodes, all of them together is like 2.5 hours versus the 60 if you were to listen to each episode in a row. And it helps significantly to get new people in quicker so that they don't feel like, because one of the problems with story based podcasts is you'll have to start at the beginning to truly know what's going on. So this is a way of sort of combating that. Like, hey, if you don't feel like starting at the beginning, you don't have the time commitment. That's cool. You could just listen to these things. It's a lot shorter, and then you can pop into the episodes, come in, and then at that point, we don't have to worry about spoiler tags or anything like that when it comes to content, because you have an idea of what's going on without um needing to spend days and days trying to catch up on everything. I would highly like it because that increases the numbers, but if you can't, then it's a system in place.
Yeah. No, that's a neat idea. I don't listen to a lot of like story based podcasts, but yeah, I can't imagine, starting partway through and having to listen to however many episodes
Right.
just to get caught up.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. I already listen to a lot of podcasts, and like sometimes I don't get through all the podcasts in a week that I want to. If I had to then add on top of that all of the like back episodes of everything that I like, I wouldn't make it. But have you had to take any breaks, either for yourself or for one of the players?
Sure, yeah. So we, as a show, record in advance. That's another advantage of the show and the structure of it, is that we're not focused. We don't really care, I guess the best way to describe it, about what's happening in the real world, because everything is contained in our little story bubble. So if the players are out for something like just a personal not able to do it today, or there's something outside that's causing them to not be able to make our weekly recording sessions, it's cool because we have a large backlog in place. Um, Generally speaking, for my two players, there hasn't been an instance where they've had an extended break. It's usually just 1 week here or there. Like, hey, I can't make it this week. It's cool. Um, with me, I am very, very bad at handling my own mental health, because I usually am like, my feeling is like, oh, I can handle it. It's cool. And that kind of came to a head a couple of months ago, actually, uh, where the backlog was sort of increasing. I hadn't made all the summary episodes, and then I had recently gotten a job that required certification exams, so I was studying for those, and then all of this was there, and it kind of came to a point where I had to be like, all right, listen, the hobby at this point, I need to start treating it like a hobby and just kind of set it aside for now. Focus on the real world job stuff, the one that's actually paying the bills, so to speak. Um, Going through that. And then once that's handled, I can bring myself back into the groove of things. So I basically took, I want to say it was 2 to 3 month break over the summer, like end of June, early July to around early September-ish, just completely stepping away from everything show related. Like the Twitter wasn't active, the Discord wasn't active, just stepping back and being like, I'm gonna let my players handle whatever they understand they have a grasp on, but I am basically non existent for this period of time. And it was helpful as well because it's sort of reset everything so that I could finish all of the real world things and then gradually bring myself back into the show. The audience was really nice about it because I could see myself just being like, in my head, I'm also like wondering, like, well, you took on all these responsibilities. Why'd you say yes to everything if you couldn't handle it? Um, but I think the most recent break in the fact that it was long enough and uh, able to help me reset myself really helps to bring myself back into this the recent episodes and coming back in with a newfound reinvigorating my love for editing that disappeared.
I actually forgot to say this, and this definitely helps alleviate the pressure sometimes, which is that I am always like 3 to 4 videos ahead in terms of what I have edited. So like a video is always done like a month before, and that way, if I do have to take a break for like a day or two for, I don't know, I'm sick or I have to go somewhere, then yeah, I just don't feel the channel's gonna die.
Yeah.
Yeah, I tried doing that for a bit, not to like have episodes ready, but to be working on them farther in advance. So I'd have like a better idea of, what the next video is going to be, and I could have a little bit more flexibility on what day of the week I actually sit down to edit, that kind of thing.
What's funny is that there is like a bad consequence to it, which is that like, well, first that I don't make any topical videos unless it's like, oh, I anticipate I have to make a review for the BDSP when they came out or when they come out or whatever. But like, so I don't really get to make any videos about like any hype or anything like that.
Shout out the one commenter on YouTube that commented about your Pokemon Sun stuff.
Exactly. And also like, because a video is, let's say I make a video, now I'm anticipating the release of this video for a month which is not good for your mental health. It's like you're hyping up this video, and if it doesn't do well, you're very sad. And then also if it doesn't do well, it's like, how do I course correct the channel? It's harder to do again when the results aren't seen until a month after you make a decision. And then it's just, you can't just do anything. I mean, I can if I want to, like, because it's not like I couldn't make a video right now and release it in a week, but like, since I don't regularly do that, it does affect stuff like that.
Well, I think we can move on to the last segment of questions that I wanted to ask you. Let's start with you, Raf. What, for people who are just starting out or are just thinking about starting out as content creators, what would be your main piece of advice for them?
I'd probably say make videos that you would want to see on the platform. I remember I had a conversation with the Aura Guardian, another content creator, and I asked him the exact same question, and he was just telling me to make videos, make content that you would want to see on YouTube, because you could have a really great idea and it may not be out there. And then when you make it, people will be like, oh wow, this content creator made that video and I really enjoy it and it's answered my questions. And I look at it as a positive because that video is out there now. You're getting traffic for people that really want to see that topic of video or understand what the video is about. And it brings a sort of uniqueness to your channel because you're making videos, of course, that aren't on the platform. And I think that's another thing as well. I mean, it's quite hard, of course, to make unique content because, especially in the Pokemon franchise, everyone's diving into the same pot of gold trying to find an idea that no one's done before, or someone's done it and they want to do a twist just to make it different. But for what I've noticed, I've made a couple of videos that are not on the platform, or for what I can find that are not on the platform, and they've done really well for me because I've had a lot of fun making the video, expressing my opinions, and like I mentioned before, when I read the comments, it's just great stuff from everyone, and I really, really appreciate that because I took the time to sit down, try my best to make a good video for everyone to then be like, oh wow, I've never seen this before and I really enjoyed it. Another piece of advice I would say is to don't stress to make the perfect video, especially if you're a new creator. I mean, if you're a new creator and let's say you've got experience with video creating and you've got the talent there to make a very engaging video and it doesn't get a certain number of views, don't worry about it because the more you make content, the more you build yourself up, then that's where the growth comes. Like, one thing I regret during my early times as a content creator was probably focusing too much on the numbers. I could just about get like 5 views on this video, and like, how come this person can make a video and they can get, like 100 views, for example. And of course, back then I didn't really know too much about making tags, engaging thumbnails, titles. Like for my thumbnail, it would be the preset thumbnail that YouTube could generate for you. And I'm thinking to myself, how all these people got like crazy font and all these fancy pictures, and I never thought of it like that. So I would definitely say don't stress to make the perfect video straight away, because as time passes, you'll notice that your content develops and that you'll slowly start to understand how to make videos in a more engaging way. You improve your graphics, just even by the way you speak in videos, like scripting. Like, I never used to script videos. I would literally sit there and I'd be like, hey guys, blah, 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 blah. Oh, we're going to be talking about this today, talking about that. And when I sat down to actually script everything, it felt so much more relaxed. And I was thinking to myself, wow, this is amazing. Like, I felt like a completely different content creator after I started to script videos. And I was like, why did I not think of this before? I'll definitely try and say, be consistent if you can, of course. Commitments come in the way. Like I said, don't stress. But if you do want to pick up your channel and you do want to see that growth, and if you do want to see how far you've come in the space of 1 month to another, then try and have some form of consistency. Like for me, I just tried to make 1 video a week. If I don't, then I just take a week off and then I resume again, because at the end of the day, if you're doing it for a hobby, your mental health comes first as well. You don't want to be putting too much time and effort into this, and you don't want to lose yourself making content, because at the end of the day, like we all mentioned, we're all human, and we can't really force it. We just got to try and relax. It's just like a ride when you're going at an attraction park. You're sitting down, just enjoy the ride, see how it goes. At the end of it, you're probably going to be screaming your head off because you're like, wow, that was awesome. I finished making this video now. I can't wait to make the next. Or you're going to be looking back at it like, oh my God, that was the most horrific experience of my life, and I'm definitely not going to be doing this anymore. So just go with the flow, honestly. And as time passes, it'll pick up for you. That's something I've learned for sure. And yeah.
Cool. How about you, Primitiva?
Don't burn yourself out. Don't do that. And I guess I would also say don't niche yourself down too much. Because if you are focused on like growing, then I think niching down a little bit does help. And like Raph said, like being passionate. Like, you could talk about something that everyone else is talking about. Like, I could talk about the Gen 4 remakes, but the honest answer is, to me, that I really don't care about those games that much. So why should you talk about something that you don't care about just because everyone else is? Like, people are going to see that what you're doing is just to get views and just to get, out there. It's just not going to work. So just, focus on what you want to do. Do try to be, do try and find your niche, but don't try too much and don't get a niche within a niche, I guess. Like, yeah, that's pretty much it. That's all I got.
Cool. Ron, you want to go next?
Yeah. I have a couple things. This is the most neutral thing, which is like make sure you're making content on either your favorite thing or the thing that you are most knowledgeable about. Again, because of burnout, if it's not something that you're 100% interested in, you're going to burn out. I'm not going to like gatekeep and say like, oh, it has to be your favorite franchise, in order to talk about it. But just for your own health, it should be. Making content also, I think the number one thing is actually that you should be making content that only you can make. Because I mean, it's in the title of YouTube, but like the more I get into my career, the more I realize this is like I distill my videos down into just what I'm interested. Even if it's like, obviously I'm interested in more than Pokemon, but it's my Pokemon videos are about what I love about Pokemon. That's what the essence of the entertainment is. Even if it's not explicit, it's not like let's say I love Pokemon music, right? But it's not like I'm making only Pokemon music content, right? But my Pokemon videos, I'll try to showcase the music inside the video. I'll have, like, there are people that, don't put music in their videos, and not that it's a bad thing or anything, but it's like I love Pokemon music, so I want to showcase that in my videos, even if it's not like me just, hey, by the way, you like the music in the background? Or let's say, I don't know, I like anime, so I'm like, oh, let me make Pokemon teams for anime characters, or I like Pokemon lore, so I'll talk about specifically Pokemon lore in some videos. It's like, even in the niche, find ways to just bring in your interests and what makes you unique. If you're starting out, also, I'd say collabs are actually the most important thing in terms of growth.
They make a huge difference.
Both just being able to find friends, and also, yeah, it's like really that, I think that is getting your stuff outside of your own channel is what drove the growth of my channel and almost everybody that I know. So that's the number one thing you should be looking for if you are below, let's say, 1,000, even below 10,000. What's funny is that I'm even looking for that nowadays. Like I'm still looking for collabs, mostly for people that I actually know. I'm either good friends with or people that I think their content is perfect. But like, and what's funny is that I'm not doing that right now for growth. It's just, it's such a thing that helps you just feel happier in the community. And then this is only for like people who are, I guess, narrating or just doing scripted content. But like, you should try to learn how to do dynamic narration. Try to not sound monotone, or people think that, oh, being happy or like is key, and when it isn't, it's just sound like you're talking to it, like not narrating, sound like you're just talking, you're speaking, and then the narration will naturally become more seesaw. It'll have range. It won't be high, it won't be low, it'll be both. You shouldn't be high all the time, you shouldn't be low all the time in your voice. Your intonation shouldn't be the same. You shouldn't be like saying two sentences in a row that have the same exact intonation. I see even like with big YouTubers, like where they'll narrate something and like two like an entire paragraph sounds like it's just the same tone of voice. Even if it's a nice voice, even if you have like a golden voice, if it's just the same tone, it sounds off, and you'll get better at it as you go along. Like I was bad at this when I started, and obviously microphone, I think, is the idea that audio is actually technically more important than video. Yep. When it comes to content creation. I will not watch a video if it has terrible audio, even if the video is the editing is amazing. But if the editing is terrible and the audio is serviceable and they're making a good point, I'm going to watch the video. So that's the number one. Get a good mic. That's the number one thing you should do before you start content creation. It's not editing. It's not learning how to edit. It's not even learning how to script. It's getting a good mic. And then this is actually like something I guess people don't talk about a lot, is that if you release a video that doesn't do well view-wise, that doesn't, in terms of the algorithm, that doesn't affect the next video. Don't think that, oh, if one video does terribly, now my channel is done. The algorithm does not care about the views of the previous video, unless it did really well, and then people are already watching your channel, then the next video will probably do well too, if people are still watching the previous video when you release the next video. But yeah, don't worry about bad views for one video. Your channel's not going to tank just because of a few bad videos.
Duran, do you have any tips for someone who might be starting out? Maybe something that's specific to podcasting?
Sure. Like Ron was saying before, if audio matters more in a video, audio is incredibly important in a podcast. So getting a mic is good. It doesn't have to be, I think, a misconception that people have is that the mic that you start off with or the equipment you start off with is the stuff that you see high caliber Twitch streamers or YouTubers or high caliber podcasters have. As long as the mic gets your voice and you can tell everything that's said, and it's not like when you speak, if there is minimal background noise, even if you have to edit that part out, if your voice is clear and able to be heard by everybody, that's pretty much what you need in order to get that aspect of it done. And then from there, build on that when it comes to the audio side of things. In the podcast universe, it's difficult because there isn't, as far as I know, there isn't really an algorithm like there is on YouTube or on Twitch or other streaming platforms or video platforms to a lesser extent. So podcasting is much more word of mouth or much more finding people and groups and communities that agree with your thoughts and then asking them in a way of being like, hey, let me add my thoughts in here via this podcast that I have. Um, when it comes to the podcasting world, know the content that you're doing and when your episodes need to be done, I guess is the best way to describe it. Uh, if you're if you're much more focused on the knowledge and information that's happening up to date, then be sure to schedule your time so that you can constantly stay up to date. If you don't need to be, like my show doesn't need to be, then make sure that you have enough space that if something goes wrong, you can still do what you need to do at the end of the day. One final point, uh, if you're not willing to do it getting 0 views, I find it difficult if you should do it at all, if that makes any sense.
No,
Like,
it makes sense.
especially initially starting off. Afterwards, there's an understanding of like, okay, I should have some sort of expectation with it. But even to this day, a year and a half in, knowing full well that there is an audience behind there, I am willing to do these episodes at the very least because I can listen back to them. And if that's the only view I get, I'm perfectly fine with that. That's a similar reason why the YouTube channel I have, the games that I play on there, aren't necessarily for an audience's view, although it is geared towards introducing and talking to a community. But the videos are there so that I can remember the games that I played and how I played. Like one of my biggest regrets is not remembering my very first Diamond team that I ever played with. I can remember a few Pokemon on there, but not the entire team, which is kind of sad, especially with the remakes coming in of having like this, oh, I can re-bring back that entire team, but I don't remember the entire team. So that's kind of how I approach all of the content that I make, is just at the very least it is there so that I can see it again. And I feel like if you approach your content with that same sort of mentality, that emotion, that passion towards your particular craft and your particular topic will show. And then an audience will come either through you promoting it or through natural just interest in what you have to say because they can see or hear what you're saying and how important it is to you. And that kind of brings people in.
Yeah. Nick, how about you? You have any tips?
I got 3. I guess more of like a mental battle type of thing, but understand some progress is still forward. I know a lot of people get consumed in like the numbers, and unfortunately, like they see a little small amount of growth, and like in their mind, it's, oh damn, I didn't get 100 subscribers, I didn't get 1,000 subscribers today. My channel's dying, I'm failing. But understand that the little progress you make is still one step forward towards something, whatever it is you're trying to build. Whether it's big, major, or small or insignificant in the eyes of others. But as long as it's you and it's what you brought, something is better than nothing for sure. Fall in love with the process is another one. Ron just talked about, how he was bad when he started. Now he's great now, and everybody, audio. I think what a lot of people get confused is when they see their favorite like content creator, they see them as they are in that moment. But what they fail to realize is a lot of people don't have the funds to spend $200 on a microphone, $500 on a microphone. People don't have $200 to buy an Elgato thing, or people don't have $200 to buy some editing software. You have to realize that these guys started somewhere, and so you have to start too. If you got it like that and you can start, sure, by all means, but understand that it's okay to start with nothing, because it makes the process a lot better, because you learn a lot of skills. Like your video making skills can be used for something else entirely that's not YouTube. You know what I'm saying? And it's like you have to learn to love just making and creating something that you're genuinely interested in, and then have fun, And then more importantly, for like anything, whether it's YouTube, whatever, learn what SEO is. YouTube search SEO, learn some things. So a lot of people see a bad video and they're like, oh, damn, my channel's dying. Nah, you probably just are missing certain things. Your description, your tags are wrong. Your thumbnail isn't appealing. Your title is kind of worded weird. Like, learn that type of stuff, because that stuff can like go a long way, especially when it comes to growth, especially in 2021, where everybody and their mom is either you're really good at it or you're really bad at it or you're just really lucky. You you know? So it's like you have to learn where you are, where you can spin your own twist on things, and how you can make your videos optimized so where if they fail in the moment, somewhere down the line, boom, that video randomly has 100,000 views. All because it was ready for the future and not in that moment, you know? Learn what that is and just be ready for your who is it moment. You know, a lot of people get that breakthrough content where it's like, oh my God, I have so many crazy views. A lot of people are going to be thinking like, okay, who the hell is this guy? Who is this person? Why should I care about them? You should be 100% ready to be like, I have a lot of content that delivers either the same type of content you watch me for or a lot more. You have to be ready to offer a lot to people, because a lot of people, you know, they look at you and they're like, oh, damn, you're a breath of fresh air, you know, to somebody. You're somebody's first million subscriber channel, if that makes any sense. Whereas like, oh my God, you know, to you, 5,000 subscribers may not be enough, but to somebody to some little kid, it's like, damn, he has 5,000 people watching him. Now imagine when you get to 100,000, 500,000, 1 million. It's like, oh my God, you inspire a lot more people than you think. And you shouldn't undermine yourself because you're comparing yourself to people who are bigger than you, because they started somewhere the same way you did.
I went to the Pokemon Symphonic Evolutions, like 2015, when I had like 20,000 subscribers. And I remember like meeting a fan there, and she treated me like I had 1 million subscribers. So it's like no size is not special.
Exactly.
Everything. Exactly. Yeah.
That's so cool. Meeting a fan at Symphonic Evolutions.
What's funny is that I wish she took a picture, but like I wish I got that picture. That was like the first like fan I ever like met in person. It was really cool. But I'll never. I can't look back at it. It sucks.
Well, maybe she will listen, and then she will send you the picture.
I don't think she has like any social media, because I remember like tweeting about it a few times. I'm like, hey, if you're that person, like tweet back, and nobody tweeted back.
Darn. Well, for me, my main piece of advice is the one that I said at the beginning. Start. If you haven't started, you're going to miss out on every aspect of it. You can think about it for as long as you want. If you don't start, then you're not going anywhere. But I have to second Odurin's advice that you have to be willing to make it for 0 viewers. I think it's unlikely that you will get literally 0 views. My very first video, it probably got like 5. So, you know, 5 to 10 views in the first week and a bit. But like you're gonna have that portion of your career. It might be very short. It might be very long before you start accruing more of a following. But you have to be happy still making content during that time. If you're not, then you're gonna have trouble. I guess the other thing is just also seconding what several of you have said by now, that you have to make content that you're happy with. You have to make it so that you're proud of it, so that it's something that you're happy to have contributed to the world, even if not a lot of people see it. If you're happy with it, that's already a big step.
Yeah. There was one more thing that I just remembered, and I can't believe I forgot it.
Sure, go ahead.
Ask for help especially when you're starting out.
Please.
I think that's something that I don't know if people. I can see, because I'm in the same boat of like asking for help for all of these bigger creators, and I don't think they'll have either the time or the patience to help with me. But when starting off this podcast, I reached out to a few other podcasts that was making similar content. So there's Critical Ditto, DM's Treehouse, which is no longer producing episodes, and Quest Company Jr. And all 3 of these have similar sort of story-based structures, all three of them had at one point in their campaigns a Pokemon aspect to it, and I just reached out and like, how do you do this? And within a day or two, they all responded back being like, wow, this is really interesting. It's a cool idea. Here's how I do my process, and that significantly helped me sort of handle what I was to expect when it comes to producing episodes, recording them, editing them, how uploading podcast episodes works, and like setting up your accounts effectively with Apple and Google Play and Spotify and all that sort of stuff. All these technical things that, similar to the SEO comment that you were making earlier, Sacred, just like planning out your steps in advance so that when you get to that point, you already know what you're doing.
The thing that literally made the biggest difference to me early on is that I became a Birdkeeper Toby patron.
Yeah.
Toby had, I don't know if he still has, but he had a Patreon tier that included having a conversation with him, and it could be about anything, including about like a critique of your channel. So I took that. I got a lot of feedback from Toby, from, you know, one of the creators that I admired the most. I got that feedback really early. I'd only been doing it for a few months at the time. And of course, that also meant that Toby saw my work. And if I hadn't done that, I don't think he would have featured my video on his channel a few months later. It took a little bit of investment, right? Because I had to reach that patronage level, but absolutely worth it. I got the feedback and I got the exposure out of it.
Moral of the story, join all of our Patreons right now and guarantee massive success.
Yeah.
I love doing that.
Nick.
It's actually fun critiquing channels. In terms of like the SEO stuff, like I was talking to Pokemon 7 like a few, I think like 2 years ago, and he was like, he highly regretted naming his channel Pokemon because every time people like just search his channel, it autocorrects to Pokemon. So just think of your channel name, I guess.
That's a good point. Well, I think this is a good time to invite any patrons who are listening, if they want to join in and ask a question. Hello, Wispy. Welcome to Tin Tower Talks.
Hi, hello. So I don't want to take a whole lot of time here. First off, big fan of everybody here. But I just wanted to ask, like, in the same vein of, like, starting that channel, like, where did you all each find your inspirations to get started? Like, what was that, like, thing that said, oh, this is it?
For me, it was the Birdkeeper Toby thing with the, like, Tree of Life and stuff. And also, I was randomly watching a speculative evolution thing or whatever, and that got me interested in biology and all that other stuff. So definitely, like, I guess this is also advice, so an earlier question again, but, like, mix in other things that you like together with Pokemon. It's really a fun combination.
Yeah.
And you get to teach people things that they normally wouldn't know about.
I think I've just already watched a lot of Pokemon YouTubers at the time. So I'd say even if you don't have to enjoy PokeTubers or Pokemon content, but you should definitely be knowledgeable about the landscape and then want to either change something, add to it, or just emulate it. And that's just how I started, I guess.
Yeah, I think being a fan and then realizing that something's missing and then trying to be the difference is like the big thing, where it's kind of just like, you know, if I watch 5 people and they're all make great content, but then I have an idea and that idea is like, did anybody upload this? No? Huh? This is a good idea. Okay. Be the person to upload it. Be the good idea, you know?
Raph or Durin, neither of you want to chime
I
in?
pretty much agree with what Nick said. Like, if you find an idea, then definitely go forward with it. I mean, of course, if there's inspirations that are like pushing you forward to say, you know what, if they can do it, then why can't I? So, you know, let that be a sort of like inspiration in itself for you to be like, don't hold back, go forward with it. You don't know until you try. If it works,
and
cool.
if it's not perfect, it's okay.
Yeah, exactly. You're not going to get it perfect first time. I mean, if you do, then good for you. Like, amazing talents, but don't give up as well straight away thinking that, I made this video, didn't do well. Keep persevering, because we're all here after God knows how many years, and, you know, let this be an example to you, really. Yeah.
So I was starting this off before the Switch remix was made for the Mystery Dungeons. So find a game that the Pokemon Company apparently forgot existed, and then create your
Start
own
a
version.
Pokemon Rumble, a whole Pokemon Rumble tabletop game. That'd be crazy. Come on.
Dude,
That's
all right,
hot.
look, you have
Pokemon
given me an
Ranch.
idea now. We're just gonna redo this call and be like, hey, this is Tin Tower Talks 2, except this time we play Pokemon Rumble, except no video games. Just everyone grab your dice,
Ooh.
throw them at each other, and we see what happens.
You already have the figures.
Yeah, exactly. In a somewhat serious in that is just find a gap, even if it doesn't actually exist. Like, I know after the fact that other Pokemon Mystery Dungeon TTRPG podcasts exist, but at the time, the gap was there, and I decided to just jump in there initially. Because the worst thing that'll happen afterwards is somebody saying, "Oh, you're a ripoff of this guy," and then at that point, you just sort of shift your content or twist it in a way that makes it more your own. In the best case scenario, it is something that's never been done before, and then you look like a Nostradamus predicting the future, and then everyone follows your actions, and then et cetera, et cetera.
Yeah, thinking back for my specific inspiration for what I started, I think it was actually Toby's video about the Pokemon world map and how he put all the regions together. I remember watching that and being like, good job, Toby. Like you managed to put all the regions together in a way that makes some level of sense. I disagree completely, because to me the Pokemon world was always just the real world is just slightly different. And so I think it was that video from Toby that really made me go like, all right, well, I don't see my opinion out there a lot. I gotta go put it out there.
I too disagreed with that video. And now that I think of it, I actually remember that the first video that I made that I was like consciously making it as a Pokemon YouTube channel and trying to start it was something that I didn't see in the community, which was I made like a top 15 music from Hoenn. Top 15 Hoenn music, right? I've never seen a Pokemon music top 10 at the time. So that was like, yeah, I guess it just really is just doing something that you haven't seen in the community.
All right, Wispy, thank you so much for your question.
No problem. Thank you guys for having me.
Barmander has a question.
Barmander.
Hi guys, Bono. Thank you all for I had like so many questions that then just ended up getting addressed. I feel like this Tin Tower Talks has been so comprehensive and in depth. It's just wonderful. But one thing that I was just curious about was earlier you guys touched on this balance between creating content that you are interested in versus things that take off because things that the audience really likes. And from each of you, I was just wondering if there was any direction that you wish took off in your channels, that you wish you like your channels were more like that. For example, like one thing I really loved Ron's videos with the different types of like games that he played, like but they didn't really take off, like things with Natani or with like couples games and things like that.
Yeah.
So just for each of you, is there anything that you guys had an idea that you were really into and then fans didn't really like it, the audience didn't like it, and you kind of had to begrudgingly give up?
Yeah, there were a couple of videos that I made.
Too many.
Yeah.
It's like 30.
Yeah, no, I think I've done the same Blue Rescue Team playthrough 3 times, so and never finished any of them.
I think it sucks that you put so many times. Like, you would think that somebody who has grown attached to your content will love you on anything, whether it's a topic or even another video game or even another channel or whatever. But like, they're really attached to that specific thing they saw from you. And that's only that. And it's like, damn, it's really hard as a creator to like accept that. Cause it's like, damn, if you like me on this, why not this topic, or why not this video, or why not this channel? It's like, oh, I'll just go back to my corner. It's not the.
Sometimes I make a video that starts a series. I'm like, the first episode does amazingly, and then part 2 does terribly.
Exactly.
So it's like, and then I'm like, well, what, you love
Like,
the
what
first one? I don't
happened?
understand. But like, I'll answer the question, but also say like the opposite happens, where it's like I release a video, it doesn't do well, but then maybe like 2 years later, like for example, I did release like a few art related videos 3 years before it became a part of the channel, and those didn't do well. And then it wasn't until, I just found a different angle to it, or like I'll have the same idea for a video, and then I won't do it for like years until I find like an actual good title or thumbnail idea or just a good way to format it, and then it'll do well. But that's the positive case. Like the negative case, I guess I've made a lot of videos that I've wanted to turn into series, and like those are the types of videos that hit that it just doesn't feel good when they don't do well, because you thought that was gonna be the next step in your channel. Like I just released like turning video game characters into Pokemon, right? I released the first one a few months ago. It did okay. Then I released the second one. The first few hours it did terribly, and then it started picking up again. But then also now it's like I'm basically right now in front of you monitoring my most recent video, and it's like it's I don't know if I'm making part 3 yet, because this part 2, I don't know what's going on with it. It's either doing terribly or really well, and I still don't know yet. And it'll happen constantly if you're a channel, at least like mine, where even at my size, your channel's on a video to video basis in terms of success. It's not like everybody watches every video I release. Every new idea, it's random in terms of how many views I'll get. I feel like that's just what YouTube is in general, honestly. Most channels, it is like that. It's not like every channel is like Pokemon challenge videos where it's like, oh, every single video you release, it'll do well. So yeah, I feel like that's the most common YouTube experience, honestly.
It happens way too often.
I don't know that it's happened to me really, because I focus so much on just making the videos that I want to. I've made plenty of videos knowing that they would not do well, but it was something that I wanted to talk about, and that, if 1/10 of the people who normally watch my video, if that's what this video is reaching, that's okay with me, because it's a topic I want to talk about.
I think it happens more when it becomes your actual career. It's like, every video of mine is a video that I want to do. Like whenever I release a video that doesn't do well, people are like, "Oh no, don't worry. Like you should only make the videos that you want to do. So don't worry about the views." But it's like every video I make is a video I want to do. So I'm gonna do I'm gonna keep on doing the videos that I want to do, but also do well. Like that's what you do.
It's so weird because like it's so funny how like the silent majority plays a crazy part in all of this.
Yeah.
Because like the vocal minority would be like, yeah, like, do whatever you want. We'll support you either way. And while that is cool on the surface level, but it's like, okay, let's really get into it then. And then you try it. Then like the guys, the lurkers who are like, they don't even comment. They sometimes don't even like, they're just there. They just won't like attach to that. And they'll be like, damn, what happened to like half my views? But people forget about the people who don't interact with their content besides watching.
And to 100% answer your question, my channel ideally would have been like Loxton's, honestly, where every week I can release just some kind of lore-based video and it will do well. But like when I release a lore-based video, like it's the videos those are the kind of videos that don't do the best on my channel. So it's like I can't continuously make those especially like because I don't have like a team, I guess. It's like Loxton's is
that's
doing
a whole
exactly
entity damn near.
It's like a show.
Yeah,
it's like
a whole cast of people behind that.
That's exactly how I would have wanted it to be done on my channel. But it's like I'm fine with how it is. But like he's the person that I'm like. He's like my rival in terms of like, that's what I want to be.
I think for me, I probably wouldn't even be doing exclusively Pokemon if I had my way. I think it sounds so romantic to be able to really just do whatever you want, whenever you want, how you want to. Right. But we're so like stuck in the game that is YouTube. It's like, if I really wanted to like depart from Mon, sometimes I'll be like, okay, cool, I'll play like I don't know, let's say I'm feeling Sonic the Hedgehog, let's say I'm feeling a Final Fantasy game and like nobody likes that stuff. It's like, okay, damn, man. But like, in a perfect world in my head, everything would do the exact same good as it normally does, but that's just not what that is. So I think for me, if I was to ever get my way, it would probably just be like more variety and everything gets shown love and we can attract like a bigger audience and we could just be here. But because, that's because we're Pokemon, it's like, okay, how do we make Pokemon? How do we express our love of Pokemon to the people that may or may not relate to it, but just share it, because you may find somebody.
Thanks so much for that, Barmander.
Yeah, thank you. Now I know to go watch True Green's new video so that he'll make a part 3.
It's true. It's like if that video doesn't do well, I may not do part 3, but.
So, this is a good place for us to wrap up. Normally at this time in the episode, I would ask you guys if you have anything that you want to plug, but I feel like the entire episode was a big plug.
Facts. Yeah. Facts.
So I guess I'll just ask if there's anything that you want to point our listeners to besides your channel.
It's funny because I would want to point out to all these channels because these are all unique creators. So it's like I want more unique channels to flourish, I guess.
Yeah, definitely go check out all of us. The links to all of our channels and Twitters and all that'll be in the description of the episode.
And also, I guess it's like uniqueness doesn't literally just mean the actual like end result video content. It's like these personalities themselves are unique. Like half of you guys do make content that is I've seen, on other channels, but it's like you yourself should be the content, and that is what makes it unique,
Yeah. Well, Ron, Nick, Raph, Prima, Adurin, lots of people. This was great. Thank you all very much for joining me here on Tin Tower Talks.
Thank you for having, for sure.
Yeah, very fun.
Thanks so much.
Fun.
It was lovely talking to you guys as well. Good luck with everything.
For sure. This is actually the first conversation I've had with some of y'all.
Yeah.
I am leaving, and for those of you that I haven't subscribed to already, I'm subscribing to you guys, just being like, hey, what you doing?
Good.
This podcast was produced on the territory of the Likwungan people, and it is edited by me, Ambrian Libris. The music you're hearing now and at the start of the show is Ekritique City by Braxton Burks. You can listen to more episodes of Tin Tower Talks in our YouTube archive. The playlist for that is linked in the description of this episode. And if you'd like to support the show and participate in the Q&A section of future episodes, you can do so at patreon.com/UmbrianLibris. Thank you for listening, and we'll see you in the next chapter.